Okay, so we are now on air, and I'm going to make sure that the link to this stream has gone out before I actually get into this. And I haven't been able to prepare as much as I really should have to make this a good enough or a long enough stream. I do have quite a few articles up in front of me, but I got to kind of move them over because I'm still kind of backed up in terms of work that I got to do. But as soon as I'm done with this stream, I plan on trying to record an advert at the beginning of the commentary that I have finished, and I'm just going to upload that tonight. So for those of you that are worried about content, you'll get this stream tonight, and then as soon as I'm done with this stream, I'm going to upload a new video, and it's I think a 40-minute long one-shot, one recording rant. I think it's a pretty good rant, and I think that a decent amount of you will enjoy it, especially if you hate the media like I do. I can say that one of my strong suits as a commentator is even unscripted. I can just do a straight shot commentary just when I have something on my mind and I think I need to say. So I think that in some ways I have some talent in that area because that's something that I know other people cannot do. There's certain people that have to script out everything, and then there's other people that can't even do that. So I have that gift at least. That when I get autistically angry, I can do a good rant. Okay, so I've now posted this on Gab. It's up on Twitter. So what I will do is I will exit out of that, and I will get on the live control room. Okay, this stream has already been demonetized. This stream has already been demonetized. Okay, it's probably the fucking title, but I'll have to work that out later. But anyways, yeah, so there's quite a bit of news to get through, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get through all of it. There's been actually a lot going on since the last time I've done a stream. Maybe if we run out of time or I get bored, I can go through my Twitter and I can find some more topics to talk about. But there's been a lot of news in the last few weeks, so I thought we would get right into it. Before I do that, I bought some beer because I went out and got some Popeye's chicken earlier for dinner. Also got some beer. Then I went for a jog in the fucking snow, which I hate. I hate jogging in the fucking snow. It's April goddamn 15th and it's still fucking snowing. What is going on? And speaking of alcohol and anger, you guys can try to take a guess what this sound is. Try to take a guess what that sound is before I actually say what it is. I'll check out the chat. Get a treadmill. Yeah. No, I enjoy going outside. Magic cards. Suicide stream. See, I'll say up front, no. If you're tuning in for me to kill myself, that's not going to happen. I'll have to disappoint you. But yeah, that is my Beretta. It's a 92 FS. And I was concealed carrying on Friday and Saturday because I was working a dangerous case, which I do not enjoy working. But I was actually with another investigator because they don't know where the fuck this guy is. But I don't really know how much I want to get into it. But he has like a rap sheet that is very long. He has been convicted and has gone to jail, I want to say, twice for violent crimes. One was assault, another was like assault and battery or battery with a deadly weapon or something like that. Like he shot at somebody. I found that he actually moved from Florida to New York to escape his past, and he's already been in trouble twice here in New York, and he's also being investigated for fraud. So he's a real piece of shit. And they think the company or the insurer thinks that he's moonlighting as a DJ. And so he's been investigated because of that. But I'm not really sure if he is DJing or not, or if it's just shit he posts on social media. But he's a dangerous fucking guy. And he's not the only fucking piece of shit from Florida who's come to my area to try to get away from his past because he's a fucking criminal. Most criminal cases are repeat criminals. Yeah, I find that to be the case too. There's a lot of fucking people out there that have just case after, like, charge after charge after charge after charge. I mean, there are people out there that are just career criminals, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight. There's people in every society, regardless of where you are. I know people, especially because what we're going to be talking about later, they're going to make it out to be a black thing, but no matter what society you're talking about, there are people in society. There's some percentage of people in society. Usually it's below 10%. Like, I'm not sure what the percentage would be. It's probably higher than 1 or 2 percentage points, but it's some percentage of the public that are serial criminals or career criminals, where from cradle to grave is just a series of arrests and convictions. They move around 100 times during their life usually, and it's nothing but a series of convictions and jail time and the rest of it. They're constantly being looked at. They're constantly in custody. They're constantly being arrested. There's people like that. And the thing is that I know this based on, what I do, that it does not have any specific race attached to it. There are plenty of people that are white, black, Latino, whatever, that commit crime throughout their lives, but it's only a certain percentage. It's below double digits. It's somewhere between 1 to maybe, 8% of people are just constantly in and out of jail, in and out of committing crimes. And I don't really know what it is. It's hard to just say that they're all, full-blown psychopaths, because I think that gives them a little bit too much credit in terms of what they actually are, in terms of what's wrong with them, because they engage in deviant behavior constantly. But they have some kind of mental or psychological disorder. That's pretty much what is wrong with them. But the problem is that our choices are basically to stick them in prison for the amount of time that they should serve for the crime that they've committed, or put them in an institution for the rest of their lives, which is basically to strip them of all their freedom. I don't really know what the actual solution to the problem is, if there is even a solution to the problem. I think that scientifically there could be someday. I think that someday there is going to be, because there was a big stink not that long ago about the fact that scientifically you may be able to actually track how one becomes homosexual in terms of biology, genealogy, etc. That you may be actually able to, in effect, prevent someone from being homosexual. Not in every instance, not every single way, because there is more than one way for someone to be homosexual. But scientifically, there is a way to demonstrate how one becomes homosexual through genealogy and biology. And that scares a lot of people because it makes them think of eugenics and other such things. But I think that in the future, there may be a way for humanity to lower the percentage of compulsive criminals, or criminals generally, by basically trying to eliminate the gene, or the whatever it would be, the biological nature of criminality or deviant behavior. Now, there's a big question to the ethics of that, whether that is something ethical for you to do, is to interfere in in human nature, in essence, because that could have ramifications. But the fact is that I think that eventually we're going to reach a point where, and I think we're closing in on that. If I'm being honest, I think we're closing in on it now, based on the statistics that exist out there, that we're kind of hitting the bottom of how peaceful a civilization can get. we're incapable of being any more peaceful and harmonious than where we are now. I don't think that in the inner cities that exist that are in like the top 50 or the top 30 of the most violent cities, I don't think they're going to be getting any less violent. Just naturally. You know, if there's more video games that come out, or there's more movies that come out, or VR comes out and people are at home jerking off or whatever, you know, I don't think that where we are now in terms of criminality and, you know, lower murder rates, lower criminal rates, etc., I don't think we're going to get any more peaceful than we are now. And the problem is that there are still cities in this country, the United States, and we're going to speak about a couple cities, but it's not just true about the United States, but in the inner cities in the United States, it is still pretty violent. There are still, in some cases, hundreds of murders, hundreds of homicides every year in a single city. Now, there are cities that don't have as many murders, but are higher in terms of the density. Per capita, they have higher murder rates. And they are overwhelmed in terms of how much crime they have, but also how many cops they have on the beat. They have huge policing budgets, and the police are unable to lower the crime. No matter how many cops you put on the street, and this is true even for my area, it's a huge problem in Niagara Falls, New York, which has a massive, massive police budget. And it's a small fucking city. Massive police budget. They can't lower the crime rate. They've been pouring millions of dollars into policing. They can't lower the crime rate. They're unable to do it. And so you have to look at that situation and ask yourself, well, then what can be done? What exactly can be done to lower a crime rate in a city that has invested the majority of its budget in policing simply to lower the crime? What can even be done? And I don't have an answer to that. I don't have an answer to what can be done in these cities to actually lower the crime rate. But I do know that this atmosphere that exists in the United States of not being hypercritical of police, which I think is fine. I think it's fair to be critical of the police and to have an eye on the police to make sure that you don't have bad cops operating on the force and doing insane shit. Because if you look around on YouTube, you'll see plenty of videos of cops going apeshit, doing crazy fucking things. But at the same time, one or two cops doing stupid things doesn't justify the cavalcade of activists that are basically promoting the idea that any policing of blacks in the United States is in effect institutionalized racism. Now, we're going to get into some stats. And the fact is that the harder you look at the stats, the worse things look. The worse it looks for the activists that are out there saying, oh, what we need to do is have a soft hand on black people in America. African Americans are being discriminated against, and racism is around every corner, and the police are the worst actors. No, if you look at the statistics, if you look at the cities that are the most violent, that have the most problems with crime, there's a correlation that is devastating. That is something that no one on the face of this earth wants to touch except for the alt-right. They're the only ones that are comfortable in touching those statistics because of how grim they are. But we'll get into those stats later. I don't want to start there because it's a frustrating fucking issue to cover. And I'll have to preempt so much of it before we get into it. But we'll cover some lighter topics before we get there. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, present to everybody. Okay, we're good. I got too many screens open here. Oh no, my mic is... Hang on, my mic is doing stupid shit. It's lowering itself. Okay, well, I turned that off. It shouldn't be lowering itself. Not sure why it's doing that. Anyways, okay, so we start out with talking about this situation with Crunchyroll. So I had no idea that Crunchyroll was actually a localizing team. But apparently they are. Apparently some portion of Crunchyroll, which is an anime distributor or service, they also localize, as it's called, Japanese visual novels or games. So there's a huge problem with Western localization. This isn't ubiquitous, but it is becoming something that is a serious problem because no matter who it is, with narrow exceptions, with exceptions of games or outlets like Manga Gamer, which is a distributor, J-List or Just USA, they're very good about it. But with there are a fair few number of distributors and localizers that are serious and just want to make money. But unfortunately, one of the common things that we now see with localization and with translation, with dubbing, which is where you take an anime and you have English voice acting instead of the Japanese cast, with uh, with dubs, as they're called, you see changes to the script that insert progressive politics, but or otherwise politicize something that is not in any way politicized, because progressivism is very limited. It is a very Western political ideology, and Japan is not progressive. Japan is not a progressive country. There are very few progressive activists in Japan. They do exist, and they are extreme and dangerous. And in Japan's interest, they should probably be expelled from the society unless they want to have their entire society overthrown and destroyed. But it's up to them if they want that to happen or not. But with progressives, they are compelled to insert their politics in any fiction that they have the power to do so. So at Crunchyroll, you have a fair few number of progressive actors. And I knew this all along. I knew this when I still had a Crunchyroll account, which is a few fair years ago at this point. I've always known that the people at Crunchyroll were progressive. And it's not hard to see that if you look at their team, you look at the spokespeople that are for that company. They're very clearly progressive. And the problem is that progressives have an ideological necessity to insert their politics in everything. If you have a progressive on a team, if they have the capacity to alter something to their own ends, they will do so. The only progressive that will not alter something for their own ends is a progressive that has not successfully infiltrated the company of which they're in. In my opinion, it is not a good idea to employ a progressive, because they will seek out other progressives to join that company. They will try and help progressives to join that company, to help infiltrate it, to such an extent that it will become a ubiquitous inner office ideology. Progressivism will simply become the office politics. And this is what happened with BioWare. This is what has happened to Marvel. This is what has happened to many different companies. And this is what is happening to Crunchyroll. If I had a company, because it's not illegal to do so, I would not employ any progressive. If I was in an interview and someone were to say to me, I would ask them, how would you describe your politics? Would you consider yourself to be progressive? If they told me yes, I wouldn't employ them. Even if they were qualified, I wouldn't employ them. And the reason is that progressives are totalitarian. And what that means is that their worldview is the only acceptable worldview to them. They do not believe in something that is called pluralism, where even if, let's say, I'm center left, I'm a liberal. I can employ a conservative. He'd be fine with me. We can have our differences of opinion on different things. I can employ a Christian. We can have our differences of opinion on certain things. There are plenty of people in normal society that are believers in pluralism. They are pluralistic. They understand that in order to function in a society, you must be willing to forgo certain beliefs or even forgo an argument that you feel strongly about for the sake of harmony, for the sake of getting along, for the sake of being productive, for the sake of doing a job. You know, even in, let's say, for example, my father's union, being on a job site, you work with many, many different types of guys that hold many, many different types of views. And what you don't do is get into political arguments. You focus on the fucking job. You know, that is the thing you avoid in order to actually get the work done. Progressives do not believe in that. They do not believe in putting one's politics aside for getting the job done. They are totalitarians. They don't believe in pluralism. They believe in their own ideological hegemony and nothing short of that. And so, in my opinion, whether it would be a progressive or it would be, let's say, an Islamist, there would be no reason to employ that person because they will always seek to forward their ideological agenda and they will never stop. They will never stop, no matter, even if they're working in a company where 100 people in the company, 99 people in the company are conservative and one person's progressive, they will not stop until they get their way, until they achieve ideological hegemony within the company. They will never stop. And that is because they are totalitarians. So the reason why I mentioned that, the reason why that's relevant to this is because, like I said, that is what has happened at Crunchyroll. They have been infiltrated by progressives, and they are now destroying the company. This is something that may wind up getting them into legal trouble, as I have another article, and we'll get to that shortly. So what happened in this instance? What is occurring here? So Crunchyroll was hired to translate, to localize a Japanese visual novel called Dan Manchi Memoranda Freeze. And it's some goofy slice of life waifu visual novel. And one of the aspects to the game is basically because it was from the, I think it's a DS Touch game, is there's a mechanic in the game where it zooms in on the head of the waifu, and you get to pet the head with your hand on the screen of the waifu. It's a goofy fan service mechanic in a waifu game. This is something that's very Japanese. It's not super uncommon as far as I can tell. I've seen it pop up in numerous instances with like waifu, very slice of life, very lighthearted games. It pops up. It's a mechanic. And to anyone who's not a totalitarian, it's innocuous. Now, I'm not going to buy this game. I have no interest in this game. I have never heard of this game outside of this instance of what has happened to it in terms of the localization in the United States, or I believe maybe even generally in the West. But this is an innocent mechanic. This is not devious. This is not, a mechanic of a white man raping and beating a black slave. This is nothing in terms of the context of the United States. This isn't Thomas Jefferson, bending his slave woman over his desk as he's scribbling out the Bill of Rights. He's like, ha, 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 as he's raping his slave. No, it has absolutely no context to the United States. This is a Japanese-made game that is based on Japanese context, Japanese lore, Japanese history, Japanese culture from Japanese writers. This has absolutely nothing to do with American politics or American sensibilities or American progressivism. That totalitarian ideology has nothing to do with it. But Progressives don't care about that. They only view things through the prism of progressivism because they are totalitarian. So when they see this Japanese game, they don't really see a Japanese game. What they see is a piece of fiction that may, in some instances, be played by Americans or Westerners. And because of that, it must be censored. Because it has aspects to them that are haram, that are not progressive. So they must be censored. Now, what happened in this case was people were saying, is this head pad, is the head pat mechanic going to be censored? Is this mechanic, which has been censored in other games from progressives for ideological reasons, is it going to be censored in this localization? And what the localizer said, what the dev team said was, no, it's not going to be censored, and they went as far as to advertise it being in the game. But the problem is that once it was released, people played it and they went, hey, this mechanic isn't in the game. What happened to you advertising this as being in the game and saying it wasn't censored? So people went to their forums and they said, hey, this mechanic's not in the fucking game. What's going on? And they went, well, this content, it's not appropriate for Western audiences. And it wasn't censored. We simply removed it. We curated it because it's not appropriate for Western audiences. So people got a little bit upset because they said, hey, we bought this game on the condition that it wasn't censored for progressive reasons. We bought it on the assumption that the game was going to be as it was in the Japanese version. Version. It's a waifu game, so they are virgins. But we were hoping for the version that was from Japan. That's what we were expecting, not a progressive edition of this game. And so they weren't really having it. The Crunchyroll people there didn't really give a shit. They just ignored the problem. They were just like, well, it's not right for Western audiences. Too fucking bad. Too fucking bad. Now, the problem is that with that, there's something in this, and here's actually the advertisement right here where they actually talk about it being in the game. There is this entity in the United States called the Federal Trade Commission. And what the Federal Trade Commission does is they monitor, they regulate corporations in terms of their products and what they advertise. So what you can't do is say, hey kids, hey guys, you wanna buy this waifu game? Well, it's got X, Y, and Z in it. Come on out and buy it. And then upon release, it doesn't have X, Y, or Z. Now, in gaming, this is something that routinely happens. I've seen this happen constantly in Western gaming, where shit is advertised and it's not in the final game. But in this instance, it is something very specific. It's not some vague nonsense that wasn't incorporated. It wasn't incorporated to the degree that it was promised. This is something that is completely absent from the game that was marketed as being in the game. Okay, that is false advertising. That is fraud. That is a crime. That is not a civil suit in court. That is a crime. That is something that you cannot do. That is fraud. You've deceived people, and then you deceive people of something that they only were able to discover once they had the product. That is fraud. So what should happen in this case is the Federal Trade Commission should intervene and actually fine Crunchyroll for this. Now, I'm not really sure what the fines would be necessarily, but this is something that is demonstrably false advertising. Because I don't even know if they kept the video up. But It is false advertising, and it's for ideological reasons. Now, there's an update to this that came out yesterday, and they've issued a statement on this, and it's amazing because they just double down. They just say that, oh no, it was always intended to be excluded from this version. We were always meaning to exclude the head padding thing, and it was just a miscommunication. Now, the problem with this is that because of this, they should be offering refunds. Without refunds, this is fraud. They removed the ad. Okay, so that's just an admission then. So yeah, here's the full thing. We apologize if there's any miscommunication around game features in the US version of Memoranda Freeze addressing a specific issue at hand. There was an interactive communication mode that was inadvertently included in some of our earlier promotional content. However, the feature was never intended to be released in the US version of the game. It is not our intent to miscommunicate to any of our players. Is it free-to-play mobile? Oh, it's a free-to-play game. Well, then you're fucked then. Then you're fucked. Then there's nothing really. I mean, it's a free-to-play game, so there is no. You'd be a lot harder off to get this. To get your money back in this case, if you spent money in any of this. If it wasn't a free-to-play game, there would be a very solid case that you could easily win on this. But unfortunately, now you got a harder goal of actually trying to get anything to change. I unironically don't get why they hate head pats so much. It's because it's against progressive orthodoxy. It's basically, there's a game where they did this, and I can't remember what visual novel it is, but this visual novel would meet the qualifications of, and I've already talked about this before. What was it? Was it Chrono Clock? Was that it? I think it was Chrono Clock. Yeah, it was Chrono Clock, I think. I can't quite remember. But basically, what they want is affirmative consent. That's what's missing in it. They basically want instances, and it is in. Is it Chrono Clock? No, it isn't Chrono Clock. I can't remember what it is. Someone would have to remind me what it is. It's this. I'm looking at my folder here. Oh God, what is it? Oh, it's Leyline. It's on the Leyline. That's what it is. That's the visual novel that it has. In Leyline, you have any relationship that you have once you engage in physical activity with the waifu, you basically have to step by step ask permission to proceed. Basically, you have to ask permission to kiss. You have to ask permission to cuddle. You have to ask permission to like go on all the way to like penetration, full on sex. Like you keep asking permission to continue. Oh, someone says Chrono Trigger. I don't remember. But it's called affirmative consent, and it is very much down the line of progressive politics. I don't really know why, but it's what it does is it's a matter of power politics. Even in sex, it's power politics. What it does is it requires the man to ask the female to basically to permit him to do anything to her. And it's something that is beyond puritanical. But it is in an instance just it's basically putting a chastity belt on a man and putting a woman in control of every interaction that they have in an intimate setting. It is, and I can't show it to you because I would have to load it up and try to see if I can find it in that game, in the visual novel. But it's so like radical. I have never been in a situation where I felt it appropriate to say like, "Can I kiss you now? Can I hold you now? Can I take off your shirt now? Can I unbutton your bra now? Can I grasp your breast now? Like it is alien to how humans act in an intimate setting. It is alien to that. But it's in the law now. It's in the law in California. It's in the law in New York State. It is law now that is how you should act in any intimate setting with a girl. The onus is on men. It is a gendered law, specifically. It is gendered. And it puts the onus on the man to inquire through every step of even not like full sexual interaction with a girl. You basically have to get her permission for everything that you do to her, because it's seen as you forcing yourself upon her. It's seen as a violent act. It's inhuman. It's inhuman. I can't stand it. It's basically trying to solve an issue of rape and regret. I would say that regret, honestly, is a bigger portion of it. What happens a lot in this world is women get drunk in college, typically at a young age in their 20s. They get drunk. They have sex. They have a one-night stand with a guy. They regret it. And then they basically try to use the state or the institution to harm that guy, to alleviate themselves of guilt. That's my armchair psychiatrist understanding or interpretation of why affirmative consent is progressive dogma. The reason is to alleviate loose women of guilt of having a bad hookup, and to penalize men for basically their regret, for basically wanting to have sex. I don't really know how to do it or to explain it better than that. I honestly think that one of the problems we have in this modern era is that girls grow up expecting that their father or whomever or the state is basically going to play the role of their chaperone for the rest of their lives. I don't know why it's expected of men to basically grow up and to take on the world, and you're just kicked out and immediately expected to basically just achieve everything instantaneously. And even conservatives to this day put a lot of onus on men, and I'm grateful for the fact that not all do, and that you have conservatives like Tucker Carlson basically delving into the topic of men in America and all the problems that come with it, and the fact that all the onus is on men, and everything in this world is basically trying to shepherd women to be nothing but fucking parasites. And I don't really know if I want to continue talking about this. But yeah, there's so much ideological baggage for why this is happening. Like, this is not a small thing. What is happening to the stupid visual novel game that I'm never going to play? People see this and say, "Oh, this is something that you don't need to talk about. There's nothing really to do with this. This is just one small, minute issue. It has nothing to do with anything larger than that." No, it absolutely does have something to do with the state of the Western world, and especially the United States. We live in an increasingly socially dysfunctional society. The social dysfunction that you see overseas, it's very common in Japan and South Korea. It is in this country. It's very similar, just not as pronounced, and it's even more built into the laws here. Affirmative consent is a draconian, chauvinist law that basically puts in law the victimhood of every woman that has a negative encounter during sexual intercourse that they have agreed upon. They've agreed to. They're not being forced upon. They're not being raped. But all sexual intimacy is viewed as basically a female being imposed upon. And the reason why that's now in the law is a cross between feminist ideology and progressive ideology. People will say it's just feminist. No, it's progressive. That is where this came from. It's from progressives. They're the ones that put this into law. It's not the feminists. They wanted this, but it was the progressives that did it. And this is why these people are taking that head patting mechanic out of the game. You know why? Because you don't ask before you do it. You just pat their heads. And that doesn't have their affirmative consent. So I know that it was a long rant and we're kind of, whining around here, but this is why it's being done. It is explicitly and solely for ideological reasons. It's for ideological reasons. And it's one of the reasons why I don't want to talk about gaming anymore on my channel. People continue to ask me and begrudge the fact that I don't want to talk about this on my channel when I rant. And it's because I have such a bleak disposition at this point related to gaming. And even with the whole the bully thing, the thing that just came out, like the whatever the fuck it's called, the women are being harassed by this headset bully shit, that scam that just came. I'm not even gonna fucking talk about it. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Western gaming is just done. Like I've said, there is no hope in the Western industry, and I'm not going to go off on a rant here. There's just no hope. Like every fucking company, every institution, anything that has to do with gaming, anything, doesn't matter what it is, like the journalists, the magazines, the companies, the developers, they're all infested with progressives, and it's their industry now. It is their industry now. And if you don't think so, go play this indie game on Steam. You are sticking your head in the sand. And I'm sorry. You can say I'm being rude to you. I'm being too pessimistic. This is just my opinion on the matter. You're sticking your head in the sand. And I'm just going to leave it there because I don't want to talk about it anymore, honestly. Okay, so we'll get this news out of the way because it's sad. So I'm not sure how many people are American, because this is very American-centric. Arlie Ermy is somebody that I grew up with. I know people know him from Full Metal Jacket, but I used to watch the History Channel religiously when I was young. I watched the History Channel when it wasn't shit, when it was great. It used to be great. It's shit now. The History Channel was a great channel. I found my interest in history based on it. I can say that it spurred my interest in the Second World War. It's one of the reasons why I grew up idolizing my grandfather, because they talked about the sacrifice and the bravery of fighting in the Second World War all the time. It was a great channel, and one of the people on the channel who ran a show called Mail Call, says it right here, from 2002 all the way to 2009, was Arlie Ermy. And he is a former drill instructor, I believe from the Marines, who went on to become an actor and then an entertainer, pretty much. And he had his politics, and I, don't fully agree with his politics, but his primary role was an entertainer and as an actor and as somebody that loved the military, was a patriot, and would basically try to instill the idea of honor and service and duty into everything that he did, and also trying to be entertaining. By all appearances, he was a very good guy. I believe he had a couple different sort of instances that he got in controversies about and whatever, and it related to his politics or what have you. But overall, he's a very good guy. And unfortunately, the news came out today that he died. And he was an older guy. He wasn't very old. He was only 74. He died young, considering he was only 74. But it's very unfortunate. It's not too surprising, considering how high-strung he was, how energetic he was, and all the rest. Those kind of people, and I'm kind of included in that as well, unfortunately. They tend to die young. And it's unfortunate that he's now dead, because he was a very entertaining guy. A lot of people loved him. I thought he was great. I will miss him, and that's why I'm mentioning in this. So, rip Arlie Ermy. There's too few men like him. Okay, so we'll get to this story. So this I'm not gonna rant about, although it's like this is such a symptom of, and I didn't talk about this in March when it happened, but I'll talk about it now. This is such a symptom of our government. I swear to fucking God, if I had any power in this world, James Clapper would be in a fucking cell. I absolutely can't stand this fucking cocksucker. He is a fucking, like, he looks like a troll. He is a fucking troll. He is such a piece of shit. James Clapper was the former intelligence chief, which meant that he basically ran the entire intelligence community for years, but he was the former director of national intelligence for years. So he ran everything, all the intelligence agencies. He ran them from 2010 to 2017. He constantly lied about the fact that after George W. Bush got in deep trouble for basically having warrantless wiretapping, got in trouble back once you still couldn't get in trouble for that. You can't anymore. He got in trouble for warrantless wiretapping. So what the NSA and the intelligence agencies did is they went back to the drawing board and they then created basically a new way to use terrorism as a means to have mass surveillance. So you no longer have the bullshit FISA court warrants of just rubber stamp every fucking thing. That's now dated. It's just mass surveillance, ubiquitous mass surveillance. Everyone's under mass surveillance, and if they're not surveilling you, then they're basically having Google and all the major companies do it for them, and they just buy that data from them. Mass surveillance is effectively just occurring in the United States, and there's no stopping it. What it requires is to have a civil libertarian become president with a mandate and try to change things up until he gets shot in the head. That's pretty much what can be done at this point when it comes to mass surveillance. The NSA and the other intelligence agencies are spending tens of billions, hundreds of billions of American taxpaying dollars on bullshit. They spy on us. They take our information. They try to go after drug dealers. They try to go after people without a warrant. And none of it is being used for terrorism. They can't prove it's being used for terrorism. They can't even show you cases where the information they've seized illegally has been used to prevent terror attacks, to try to preempt them, to try to minimize the ones that have happened. They can't prove that mass surveillance does anything in this country to prevent crime. They can't show anything. They've never tried. Every time anyone says, hey, can you prove any of this? They just call you unpatriotic. They call you a leftist or a liberal. They call you whatever, and they don't bother to prove any of it. And again, this is at the tune of billions and billions and billions of dollars that can't be proven to do anything. So what this guy fucking did is he went to Congress. Whoa. What the fuck was that? Fucking ads. Oh, it's this ad.
No one likes to fall on their face. It's embarrassing, potentially financially devastating. It sucks. That's why I love.
Look, it's even muted. Why is it? Look at this. God damn, these are some fucking harsh ads. Embrace the suck, he says. Shut the fuck up, you quasi-Latino-looking motherfucker. Shut up, old man. We're talking about this old man. Anyways, so James Clapper went before Congress and he fucking lied and lied and lied and lied and lied and lied and lied. And then he went before Congress again and lied and lied and lied and lied and lied. And then he went on national television and lied and lied and lied and lied and lied and perjured himself over and over and over, bragged about the fact that he perjured himself, and is basically a nonstop guest on NBC, CNN. Like, he's on all those channels now. And he's basically brought up to be the mouthpiece of the intelligence community, which is all the alphabet soup agencies that spy on us. He is a fucking criminal piece of shit, and he should be spending the rest of his fucking life in jail for perjuring himself, constantly bragging on national television that he perjured himself and nothing was going to happen. And then nothing happened. Nothing happened. Basically, he avoided charges for the fact that he lied multiple times to Congress and did so brazenly. Just flat out fucking lied to all of our congressional representatives' faces, and nothing happened. And like I said, if anything did happen to him, whoever that president would be would probably have his fucking head blown off. Because unfortunately, our agencies are just incredibly corrupt. The problem is that I'm not even faulting like the agent that doesn't give a shit about, you know, the courts, doesn't care about doing things the right way, doesn't care about civil liberties, doesn't care. Just, you know, there's drug dealers on the street, there's criminals on the street, there's killers on the street. I'm trying to put them away. Fuck, you know, due process. Fuck, you know, innocent until proven guilty. Fuck the courts. I'm trying to put away criminals. And that's why I'm doing these things. I don't care about liberty. I don't care about the Constitution. I'm trying to put criminals away. Like, I understand the motivation of that person. But the problem is, the reason why you don't give the person that power is because it only enables them to go even further and become even more crazy and corrupt. And that's what you see with all these alphabet soup agencies, is that from top to bottom, they are literally just criminals in their own sense. They're so obsessed and just possessed with the notion of pursuing what they consider to be justice, even though half the time they're doing they're giving favorable treatment to people that they like, and it's not consistent justice. You know, they're so possessed with their own authority in terms of pursuing justice that they're basically fascists. Like, I don't even know how else to describe it. Like, they resent civil liberties, they resent the Constitution, they resent due process. They don't believe anyone to be truly innocent. They believe that we're all on this scale of fucking gray to when we all become criminals, and that we're all fucking guilty to some extent. They're fascists. And fucking James Clapper is a fascist. And he lies to continue fascism. He lies in favor and in the name of fascism. He doesn't believe in the rule of law. He doesn't believe in due process. He doesn't believe in innocent until proven guilty. He doesn't believe in the Constitution. He doesn't believe in your civil liberties. He just believes that there is a means to an end of pursuing justice, even though it's not equally given or pursued, and it's justified. He has that authority, and fuck you if you think otherwise. He's a shit person. And like I said, he should be in a fucking cell, but he's not. He should be, but he's not. And the intelligence agencies, including the FBI, by all appearances, are out of fucking control. Our intelligence agencies are out of control, and unfortunately, I don't think Trump is going to do anything about it. I think he's too surrounded by people that want to see him out of power, and he's afraid that the intelligence agencies are going to further damage him. He's only stood up to people like James Clapp. I know he's talking about Comey now with the FBI, but the thing is that, like, the guy that he puts he replaces Comey with another person who's almost equally as bad. And, you know, he has John Bolton joining his fucking administration, he doesn't give a shit about civil liberties. You know, unfortunately with Trump, he's not really surrounding himself with civil libertarians. He's surrounding himself with authoritarians. And the intelligence community is never going to fucking change if you don't have any reformers going in there and trying to clean that shit up. So, you know, unfortunately, Trump he's not exactly perfect. I didn't expect perfection out of him. I didn't even vote for him. It's one of the reasons why I didn't. But unfortunately, this is one of the things that he's unfortunately cucked by. I don't think he's ever going to do anything about the intelligence agencies. I don't think he's ever going to do anything about them, even though they desperately need to be reformed. Okay, we'll go to. Here's a good story. We're going back to games for a minute, but this is a good story. So, what happened in this instance is Sky, which I thought was like the right wing outlet in the UK, I think it is, or maybe it's Australia. I can't remember, or maybe that's the Sun. I can't quite remember, but this is a good story. So in this instance, some cocksucker journo named Yinsu Collins went to this girl who is a professional esports player who happens to be a female. And what the fuck? Oh. Anyways, so this fucking cocksucker journo goes to this female esports player and basically is like, oh my god, being a girl in gaming is so hard, blah, 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 blah. And thankfully, this professional esports player completely sidesteps her bullshit. Or I'm assuming maybe it's a fucking white knight cocksucker. Here, hold on. Yinsu Collins. News. Sky Sports. Gemma Collins? No, it's not her. I'm trying to no, I don't know. I don't know who this person is. I was gonna make some sort of point about their appearance or who they are, but whatever. So this person basically asked them, what three basically says they completely give them a biased question saying, oh, the lack of female representation in competitive esports is perceived as an issue. So this is the thing that journalists do, and this is why I fucking hate them. Okay? There is no such thing as an objective journalist. Every fucking journalist on the face of this fucking earth is going into a meeting with somebody and doing an interview based on their own fucking agenda. So they are incapable of just asking a fucking question that is actually related to what this person is doing. Like, how'd you get into esports? What's important about esports to you? Just actually interviewing this person and talking to them about what they actually fucking do. If she brings up female representation, you can't help it because she's the interviewee. But you are the interviewer. You control the questions asked. You wanted to ask her about this fucking bullshit that you believe in yourself as a fucking progressive. And it's the first fucking question. It's the first fucking question. It's a one stub article with one fucking question, and it's about progressive bullshit. So this is what, again, this girl is great. This girl is great. Audrey is her name. She's great. You know what her answer is to this fucking horseshit question? In Street Fighter, which is what she plays, there are no men or women, only players. You take your spot and you play. All the players are very close. The fact that I'm the only girl doesn't bother me. It is good because I feel that we are all participants. So the problem is that this girl is an egalitarian. She's not a progressive. She sees the world through the lens of every person is an individual, and they can only be defined by how they define themselves. Just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I'm a gamer. Just because you believe in some fucking horseshit dogma that I'm standing down in the fucking local GameStop going, no niggers and cunts! All niggers and cunts, get out! When that isn't happening. It is physically impossible for someone to prevent anyone from being a gamer. Gaming is the most inclusive, quote-unquote, hobby or community in the world. It is impossible for someone to prevent somebody from playing a fucking game. It is physically impossible. And yet, is any fucking journalist going out and asking esports players, hey, how come everyone expects this to be this diversive or this divisive and exclusive hobby when there is nothing preventing someone from becoming a gamer. Why is it so many fucking people believe this despite it being physically impossible? There's a fucking question one might want to ask. There's my bias question. How the fuck can anyone prevent women from playing Street Fighter? The answer is that men and women have different interests. And a lot of guys like playing Street Fighter and a lot of girls like playing The Sims. They have different interests. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that progressives are social constructivists and they reject any conception of men and women having different interests. In fact, men need to act more like fucking faggots, fucking fairies, more effeminate soy boy douchebags doing gay shit like wearing skirts that you see on Twitter all the time. There was some fucking article the other day of some faggot who got the wrong package in the mail. Somebody sent, someone Amazoned a dress to his house, just a red dress, and he puts it on social media. It's like, bro, why don't we live in a time where I can just call you a faggot because you look like one? You're wearing a dress and you're proud of it. You are a fucking transvestite fairy. But the problem is that we live in a day and age where being a faggot is in vogue. Oh, everyone wants to just fucking be a faggot on social media now. Went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but God, I can't like this again. Like, it's just anything to do with gaming. It's just so bad. I mean, I'm glad that Audrey is out there. Give Audrey a microphone. This is great shit. Like, I'll link this interview. Go read it. It's great. She's just focused on being a good esports player, and she has the best mindset possible of just being a professional. So hats off to this girl. We need more like you around. If every girl like you was around, then gaming would be fucking fine. We wouldn't have a problem with gaming if every girl was like Audrey. But the problem is that fucking just about 60% of them aren't. 60% of them are fucking 20-something, 30-something, just inevitable fucking cat women. Women that hit their 40s and freak the fuck out because they're lonely and single. Because no one wants to fuck them. Because they are unfuckable. So I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay, somebody's just messaged me and they said make sure don't forget super chats. So I'll get to super chats. So we'll do that now before we move on. Because we got some bad stories coming up, baby. Oh, man. Who can win in a fight? And it's by CJ, Steve Shives or David Hogg. My money's on Steve Shives. David Hogg strikes me as a fucking fairy. I'm gonna go with Steve Shives. Mobile Crusader says you're absolutely right about this topic. I find it's really annoying trying to find translated visual novels in the first place. But when you have multiple localizations or find censorship patches, it's super annoying. Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why, like, Japanese shit has not taken off even more in the United States, in my opinion, or the Western world generally, because like the localizations, the translations, it's still like what would be the right word? Complicated isn't the right word. It's just awkward. Finding the right websites, downloading it, installing it. It's not as simple as boom, you get it on Steam. Like there are visual novels on Steam now in recent times, yeah, but they're censored. Now there's definitely ways to get around that, and there's been progressives pressuring them to stop that. But the fact is that what we need more of are websites like Jast USA, Manga Gamer, Nutaku. Is that it? Do I have a? I don't think I have a link to that. Do I have a link to that? No, I don't. I think it's Nutaku. Anyways, you need more websites that make it very simple for punch in a credit card, download it, it's already installed, boom, you got it. No censorship. We need more of that. But a lot of the websites I just mentioned, JList or Jest in this case, Manga Gamer, and Nutaku, they're very fringe. They're very fringe. And they're typically adult oriented. So yeah, I agree. It's awkward still. Bazinski says Fire Emblem from Vid 3 censors and an Echo Cha. Not sure what you mean. I know that Fire Emblem was a very big controversial game that got censored. Tim says, "Hey Lewis, I'm fucking blasting a tequila." How are you doing, brother? What's your booze preference? Whiskey, vodka, gin? I would say that I have a taste for screwdrivers, which is vodka and orange juice. The vodka actually depends a little bit. I don't like rum. I've tried a couple different types of rum. I don't really like rum, but I do like whiskey bourbon. I know that there's a difference between whiskey and bourbon, and also whiskey bourbon, but I prefer whiskey bourbon. I think that goes very good with cherry Coke, especially. I don't know if anyone here, maybe that's a type of drink that I don't really know of, but cherry Coke and Jim Beam is very good. I like that a lot. I don't drink it enough, honestly. Some guy with a fucking Swedish name says, couldn't they just lie about the affirmative consent? Should we have them sign a contract? Well, dude, if you don't think the contract is next, buckle up. But because the thing is with the contract is that I guarantee you it would be baked in the law that even if like you have a guy who signs a fucking contract, like what is, I mean, the contract just means like, okay, I sign a contract that is consensual. Do I now have the legal right to fucking rape you? Like if you say, yeah, I'm going to suck your dick. Let's sign this contract. And then it's a contract for consensual intercourse. And then I fucking rape you. Is that now legal? Can you not then go to the police and say I raped you and have me charged with rape? No, it's never going to be that case. It's always going to be the onus is going to be on the guy. The girl has none of the risk, and the guy has all the penalty. You know, even if it were a contract, it would be the guy would be guilty of everything. Will says, I think the head pat thing has more to do with infantilizing women than it does consent. I disagree, Will. Even with consent, it looks condescending, so they don't want it. Well, I agree with it, the purpose. It does infantilize women, but ideologically, it has exactly to do with consent. So it does infantilize women, yes, but it's specifically in terms of the ideology, it is about consent. And basically it is structuring politics, intimacy, and the law around men having all of the penalty and women being completely devoid of any responsibility. Even if they feel guilty about having a hookup with a guy, it's still the guy's fault, and he's penalized for that. It's fucking insane, but it's in the law. Dale says, honestly, I hate this stuff. I'm not head patting any women until marriage. On a more serious note, it terrifies me as a male college student. Be terrified, bro. I've only been shown more and more horror stories of even my own alma mater of fucking insane shit that's happened. There was fake rape claims at my college, like I think a year ago. There was a big stink about some fucking girl that supposedly got raped. She made it up. And nothing happened, by the way. Nothing fucking happens to the girl that makes shit up. Josiah says, now that Styx is going for governor, are you going to run for office? I think he backed out of that, by the way. I saw some video afterwards where he said, I believe he said he's not going to run. So I think that was just kind of a stupid stunt on his behalf. Okay. Red Stag. Is that the name of that drink? It's called a Red Stag, or is that a brand? Could someone update me in the chat if that's the name of the drink? Oh, it's cherry flavored Jim Beam. Oh, okay. Anyways, I'm gonna move past that awkward or that silence, awkward silence. Anyways, so we'll get to this because it's kind of a stupid story. I've been watching a lot of cop videos recently, and that's pretty much what we're going to get into next. So one of the things that you'll see if you watch a lot of cop videos, like I've been doing recently, is that there's a lot of people out there that treat cops like shit, like absolute shit. And in this instance, I like this story because it is about a religious leader, a reverend, who just gives endless shit to this cop because he arrested this person who basically almost beat their mother to death. So what happened in this case was some guy beat the fucking shit out of his mom when she was trying to call the police. He basically took the phone out of her hand as she was calling the police and then beat her with the phone so badly that they had to bring her to the hospital. She had like a physical injuries, a concussion. Like she beat the shit out of his mother. After he beat the shit out of his mom, he ran to this church. And I'm not sure what this church is called. It's in Connecticut. But he ran to it's Old Stone Church. So he goes to this church and he hides in the church. So the cops come, they find out he's at this church, and basically somebody at the church says, "We want you to wait until the reverend gets here to arrest this guy. Because this is a sanctuary. A church is a sanctuary, blah, blah, blah." So that whole thing is fucking stupid cultural bullshit. A church does not have the legal right to do anything as it relates to a criminal. If the police are in pursuit of a criminal, if they go into church, nothing happens. The cops have every right to kick the fucking door in, take the criminal, arrest them, and have them processed. There's nothing in the law preventing the cops from going into a fucking church. And guess what? We live in the first fucking secular republic. You know, we live in the first secular republic on earth. So it is unbelievable to me that any fucking retard would think that cops do not have the legal authority to go into a church to arrest a suspect. It is unbelievable to me that anyone is that fucking retarded that they would think that that's the law. Because we don't live in a fucking theocracy. I don't even know if that's true in fucking Saudi Arabia. You're telling me in Saudi Arabia the cops can't go into a mosque to arrest somebody? I don't even believe that. So anyways, so the cops go into this church, they arrest the guy, they bring him away, and then basically the cop, like they already have the guy in the car, and then the fucking, the reverend, who's a chick, she shows up, and she is just the biggest cunt in the world to the cops, to the arresting officer. She is the biggest cunt in the world, and basically says that not only is she going to sue them, but she's going to have the cops go to jail too, because it's illegal to arrest somebody in a fucking church.
Respect his rights too, and what you didn't respect his rights at all. Okay. Well, he had the right to be in there, waiting for his pastor to come in a safe place, sheltered, so that he could be counseled about what to do next. He was arrested for a violent felony. I understand. Okay. And that arrest could have been made outside the church. Had we just walked away, just answer. Had we just walked away? Nobody asked you to walk away. I asked him to wait.
So the whole reason why she's pissed off is that they didn't wait for her to basically talk the violent criminal into coming outside. And one of the problems is is that you look at her, she's some old dumpy white cunt. You have this old elderly dumpy white cunt. You have this dumpy fucking old man right here. These two people were the people in the church that dealt with the violent criminal. Okay, this guy beat his elderly, or I don't even know elderly, but he beat his mother with her own cell phone as she was calling for help from the police. He is a fucking psychopathic, violent lunatic. And they insist over and over again that not only did the police not have the legal right to enter the church to arrest a violent criminal, but that the onus is on them rather than the guy that was there because he was fleeing justice after he beat his own mother. It is a fucking insane video, and it goes on and on and on. But yeah, I will link it. I will encourage people to go watch it because it is a fucking insane video. And the whole thing is right. The cops are nothing but professional and cordial the entire fucking time. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But I get to praise the police while also shitting on religious people. So I like to take that instance just to do that because she's so haughty and arrogant. But the thing is, she later I forget, she basically resigned from the church later on. That after this blew up into a viral story, she resigned her position as a reverend for that church. And it was likely because of the bad publicity. Because churches, unlike a lot of institutions, are completely reliant on donations and that kind of like activist sort of support. They have to pursue donations. They're not profitable on their own, at least not typically, unless you're dealing with like the crazy fucking the mega churches or whatever. Those are the only ones that are basically run like a for-profit fucking like scam. But most like old school churches are pretty much just, they operate purely based on the generosity of the people attending them and of the community. So public relations means a lot. And having a viral video where basically you're berating cops for arresting a violent fucking criminal, it doesn't make you look good. It makes your church and your pastor or reverend in this case look like a fucking retard. And yeah, so I just thought I would mention that. So we're going to move from there, and we're going to move to basically a few different things. We'll get to that later. We'll get to the UK later. Okay, so one of the things that exists in the United States right now is the fact that there are a lot of people with a severe anti-cop bias. And it's alarming to see to the extent that it exists, because it does clearly exist. You know, we're not just talking about, fuck the police or graffiti or, rap lyrics or even the cop assassinations that have happened in the limited instances that they've happened. We're not even talking about that. What we're talking about is this increasingly general concept of the police are basically the criminals on the streets, and that the criminals are, in effect, the good guys. It's alarming how mainstream this is becoming. And I say this as somebody that is a civil libertarian. I'm not a cop apologist. I'm not here to tell you that every cop on the job is a good guy or is competent for that job. I'm not here to defend some cop shooting some guy in the fucking back who's running away from a traffic ticket. I'm not here to apologize for cops doing wrong things or acting in a way that is outside of their parameters of a law enforcement officer. But what I am telling you is that culturally in the United States right now, we are seeing a very serious problem of people seeing cops as not only just not legitimate in terms of being a cop, being a person, but as not having authority. So I don't know if I'm articulating that well enough. It's not just that the cops, it's not like saying there's some good cops, there's some bad cops. It's basically a cultural notion that cops do not have authority. So if a cop tells you, hey, let me see your license. We have a law in this state that says that if I pull you over, you have to show me your license. That's a law. I'm giving you a lawful order. You have to obey what I'm saying. You're trespassing. You need to leave. Basically the cultural idea is a cop telling you something, even if it is a lawful order, you should not listen. And what that does is that it naturally escalates a situation. So if a cop pulls you over and the cop says, let me see some ID, or can I please see some ID? However they say it, if they give you the lawful order, I want to see some ID, legally you have to show it to me. Now, I've been pulled over and I've said, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I don't have my license on me. I have a license, this car, I can show you, who I am. I can show you that this is my car. I can show you whatever proof that you need to see, but I don't have my license on you. I'm sorry, I can't give you that photo ID. And the cop was kind of like, this is going to take some more time. Went back to their car and they didn't even ticket me in that instance. It was great. I didn't have my license and they didn't even ticket me. But what I did do was I complied. I listened to what they said. I told them what the situation was. I apologized. And they were kind of begrudged me and said, this is going to take some time now because I got to look up all this shit. And I said, I know, I'm sorry. I can try to provide you whatever you need to see. But, this is like the only time it's happening. I've been pulled over out of my license. And the thing is that that's how you de-escalate a situation. Is even if you don't have your fucking license, you try to explain you don't have it and that you're trying to comply and that you do own the vehicle. You go out of your way to make sure that the cop feels safe. You roll your window down. You put your hands on your wheel. You take your car, you turn off your car, you put the keys on the dash. You do things to let the cop know that you're not a fucking a guy that just robbed a liquor store, or you're going to shoot the guy for no reason because you're hopped up on PCP or any of the other shit that could happen in just a common circumstance. So what happens, unfortunately, is that people get pulled over and they have to prove that they own the vehicle. They have to comply, but they escalate and escalate and escalate to the point where the cop has no choice but to then use force. And that is not on the officer. There is a range of options that you can take before the cop has to use force against you because you are not compliant. You cannot just not comply with an officer when he is in the process of an investigation. You're still a suspect. It's still innocent until proven guilty. You can still go to court, but as he's investigating, you are not permitted to impede it. You must comply. It is the law. And if you impede it, if you do not listen to lawful orders given to you, and if you are completely non-compliant, or berate the officer, or do whatever you do to be non-compliant, the only option you give the officer is to use force. And that's a problem. That's a problem. But the thing is that it's not just one person. It's not just two people. I know people in the comment section are going on and on about the sovereign citizens, and that's a good example of this. But it's becoming a cultural phenomenon in the United States where it is becoming mainstream. It is becoming mainstream in the United States to just not comply with an officer as he's giving you a lawful order, as he's telling you specifically, I need you to do this so that you can be in compliance with the law. You're trespassing in someone else's property. Get the fuck off it. I'm telling you to leave. You must comply. He's giving you an order so that you are in compliance with the law. I need you to ID yourself. I am stopping you. I am detaining you. You must identify yourself in order to be in compliance with the law. It is not about him having some power trip over you. It is about trying to comply with the law for the sake of an investigation. I don't understand why that there aren't more people like what I'm explaining here is not fucking complicated, and I'm not out here dick sucking for the police. I'm not out here moralizing, telling you, oh, these cops are dying, to keep crime or the criminals off the streets. They are all brave heroes and blah, blah, blah. I'm not even saying any of that. I am simply saying that in order for us to live in a society of laws, you must comply with an officer when he is giving you an order, so that you must be in compliance with the law. You must obey it, even if it's unjust. Even if he stops you and says, oh, I smell weed, I think you got a gun on you, or does whatever, does something that is stupid or is unlawful himself, you take that to the courts. You take it to the courts. Judges and juries decide guilt and innocence. Cops are simply law enforcement officers. They're not there to judge your guilt or innocence. They're there to investigate. They're there to enforce the law. They're there to simply make sure that law is being complied with. They are not there to determine your guilt or innocence. And by not listening to them, by disobeying them, you are not in compliance with the law as they are speaking it to you. If they tell you to leave someone's private property and you refuse, you are trespassing. You are in breach of the law. And people, a lot of conservatives will tell you that the foundation of a society is property rights. It is the laws based around property rights. And to some extent, there is truth to that. There is truth to that saying. But with police, it should not be up to the property owner to force you off of their property. It should be that we have an agent of the state acting on behalf of the courts telling you to leave that property so that you can be in compliance with the law and that person's rights, their property rights, aren't being violated. This is the whole reason we have a state. This is the whole reason we have laws. This is the whole reason we can exist in a society. This is not little shit. This is not some fucking insignificant detail. This is the foundation, the foundational basis of a society. This is not insignificant details. So, yeah, so this is this article, some coffee shop in California, it's just like, yeah, fucking cops get out, pigs get out. Like, they refuse to fucking serve coffee to cops. And I know this is the whole bake the cake argument. I don't want to get into that here, but the reason why they're refusing to serve cops is simply that they hate cops. And the thing is that, okay, it's like, okay, listen. You are a property owner. You are a business. What is to stop me from going to your coffee shop, sticking my Beretta, which is currently sitting on my desk, holding it currently? What's to stop me from sticking my gun in your face, telling you, give me all your fucking money or I'll fucking nuke you? I will pull this trigger, blow your fucking head off, and take it out of the register myself. Give me your fucking money. What is to stop me from doing that? Now, I know more libertarian-minded people will say, oh, they'll have a gun or they'll have private security, blah, 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 blah. But the whole thing is, with deterrence, with property rights, is that it is a matter of property rights and laws. I'm in violation of the law. I'm robbing you. I'm using a weapon to do so. I'm on your property. I'm seizing your property. I'm in violation of the law, and it's not you blowing my brains out or having a guard blow my brains out or any kind of vigilante justice or whatever. It should be decided by the courts. That is how we live in a functional, orderly society. I don't want to live in the fucking Wild West where we're all fighting in between one another with our private armies and private security. I want to live in a society where the guy is he's too afraid to go into the shop and rob it because they'll have security cameras. And if they have security cameras, there's going to be a cop kicking in their door, arresting them for the crime. Part of the law is deterrence. And police are a great deterrent. They're not a silver bullet to crime, but they should not be looked down upon. You know, they have a very, very critical job in terms of society. We need sanitation workers. We need, and that includes sewer workers, and we need sewer systems. We need roads and road workers. We need cops, and we need prisons. We need courts. We need a whole slew of different things in order to live in a harmonious and functional society. Cops are an integral part of living in that society. You should not be saying to cops, as a fucking business owner, get out of my shop. I'm not serving you. Fuck the police. You have a deranged mindset. You have a mindset of which that you cannot, you wish for a dysfunctional society. Because you don't think cops should be on the beat. You don't think cops should be shooting armed criminals. You don't think cops should be bringing people to jail for committing crimes or being at least suspected of committing crimes, you know, etc. This is something that's important in that this is a sign of a dysfunctional culture, of a dysfunctional society. This really is. Okay, so all of this is a preface for not this article. We'll get to this article later. Of this story, which happened, was it today? Was it today? I thought this happened like a couple days ago. Whatever. This happened this week, sometime later in this week. So this is what happened. This is what happened. Two black guys go into a Starbucks in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They go into a Starbucks and they want to use the bathroom. And I've done this before, which is weird. So they went into the Starbucks and apparently they either went to use the bathroom or they asked to use the bathroom. And the proprietor said, okay, if you want to use the bathroom, you got to buy something. So I've been at stores that have done this and I've been at stores that don't do this. It pretty much depends on who owns the business or who's the manager at the time. The manager says you got to buy something if you want to use the bathroom. So the guy said, well, we're not buying anything because we're waiting for a friend. And the guy said, okay, well, then you're not using the bathroom then. So the guys sit down in the cafe. And they're just sitting there and they're waiting and waiting. They're waiting for their friend to show up that they alleged that they're waiting for. So the proprietor, either the manager or the owner of the store, it might be a franchise or whatever, I don't know. Somebody at the store goes up to them and says, listen, you're just sitting here, you're not buying anything, you're loitering. Get out. Get out of the store. Now, I want to be very clear, especially if this was the homeowner, or it's the homeowner, the business owner, the proprietor. But if it wasn't a proprietor, the franchise, but instead it was a manager, let's say, acting on behalf of that person, they have every fucking right to tell you to get out of their shop. If you are, especially if you are not a customer, if you're not buying shit and you're loitering in their store, they have every fucking right to tell you to get out. It is their property. So what happens is that the guys have a fucking moment. I said this on Twitter. It's a Chappelle Show reference. They had a when oh God, am I blanking on that shit? Hold on. It's when something real goes wrong. Hold on, let me. Hold on. Keeping it real. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. So they had what is called a when keeping it real goes wrong moment, which is where a black person gets incredibly indignant and does something stupid for no reason other than their own fucking ego. So these black guys say, we're waiting for our friend. We're not fucking leaving. Fuck you. And so the proprietor says, okay, you're fucking trespassing. I'm going to call the cops and have you guys thrown the fuck out of here. So guess what? The guy called the cops. The cops showed up. The cops said, hey, you two guys, the proprietor just said that you're been told to leave. You're not buying anything. You're trespassing. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of the store. You're trespassing. So what did the guys do? The cop just gave them a lawful order. You are trespassing. Get out. This is private property. Get out. You have no right to be here. Leave. What did they do? They sat their asses there. They said, nope, fuck the police. We ain't leaving. And so what happens? They stand the guys up. They arrest them. They take them out of the store and they go, we didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing. We just came to the store. We just waiting for a friend. We're just waiting for a friend. We didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing. And all the white liberals were like, oh, they're so racist. Oh. And, like, white bourgeois leftists. I don't know what to tell you. It's amazing because it's like Jimmy Dore even sent out a tweet earlier. He retweeted a tweet earlier of some white liberal that had like 100,000 likes and retweets. Like 200,000 retweets of this white bourgeois liberal going, racism! I'm not a racist! I'm so virtuous! All the cops hate black people! And no! This is not an instance of cops hating black people. This is an instance of two uppity black people going into an establishment, wanting to use the services there, them being denied, and then because of that, acting like a couple of children sitting in the fucking store and loitering despite being told to leave. That is what this is. This is a moment of when keeping it real goes wrong. You got arrested because you were trespassing, and the cops told you to fucking leave. And when you ignore an officer's lawful order, you get arrested because you escalated the situation. The cops didn't escalate. You were told to leave. You didn't. You were trespassing. That's a crime. You got arrested for committing a crime because you refused to comply with an officer's request. The onus is on you, not the officers. But in this stupid, fucked up country of which we live in currently, apparently, if you tell two black guys who are trespassing to leave private property, you're a fucking racist. So, what we are now going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about this fucking shithole part of fucking Pennsylvania. Because I'm going to introduce some fucking statistics. So, right now, Philadelphia's having a kind of a little bit of a problem. Philadelphia itself is having a little bit of a problem with homicides, with violent crime, with shootings, with crime in general. They're having a little bit of a problem in that currently, as of December of last year, they're at a 5-year high of homicides. And so I want you to keep these crime stats in mind, okay? Keep Philadelphia in mind. So we're now going to turn to these statistics, this list of the most violent places, the most violent cities in the entire United States. And these are very recent. These are 2018 stats. Okay, so as of 2018, which are the most violent cities in the United States? Well, here's Chester, Pennsylvania. I wonder. We'll take a look at a map. Okay, where's Chester, Pennsylvania? So here's Philadelphia. Where's Chester? Oh, here's Chester. Here's Chester, Pennsylvania. Here's Philadelphia. Here's Chester. Here's Philadelphia. Here's Chester. So let's keep Philadelphia and Chester, Pennsylvania in mind. Let's keep those two cities in mind. Camden, New Jersey. Where's Camden, New Jersey? Camden, New Jersey is right here. Here's Philadelphia. here's Camden, New Jersey. Here's Philadelphia. Here's Camden, New Jersey. So let's keep in mind Philadelphia, Chester, which is down here, Camden, New Jersey, which is right across a fucking this border between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. This little river here. This little canal. It's the Delaware River, by the way. I'm aware of what it is. It's very close to Philadelphia. So let's go back to this list. Let's keep going down this list. Violent cities. Newark is actually close to New York City, so this is a little bit of an exception for New Jersey. Where is it? I think it's number 28. Okay, here's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So we go back to the map. Where's Harrisburg? Where's Harrisburg? Oh, Harrisburg. Where is it? Am I not actually able to find it? Lancaster, where's Harrisburg? Is it above it? God damn it. Harrisburg. Let's type it in. Harrisburg, PA. Where is it? Okay, so it's right here. So here's Harrisburg. Here's Harrisburg. Okay. Harrisburg, Philadelphia. Harrisburg, Philadelphia. So okay, so the question is, what do all of these cities have in common? So we have Philadelphia, Camden, New Jersey, Chester, Pennsylvania, and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. What do all of these cities, or I guess a town, whatever you would call Chester, but Camden's the city, Pennsylvania's the city, and so is Harrisburg. They're all cities. So what do these cities have in common other than super fucking high crime rate? All of them have a super fucking high crime rate. What do they have in common? Democratic mayors. No, you're close. You're close. Every single one of these cities has a black majority population. And no, I'm not bullshitting you. Philadelphia, Camden, Chester, and Harrisburg has a 75% black population. Now, one of the things is that guess who's actually policing the streets in Harrisburg? Guess who's policing the streets in Philadelphia? Guess who's policing the streets in Camden? Guess who's policing the streets in Chester? Black police officers. Black police officers, black chiefs of police, black politicians, black judges. One of the issues of being black in the United States is not being victimized by white officers or white people. One of the consequences of being black in the United States is being disproportionately victimized by other black people. That's one of the truths about the United States right now, is that crime is up in Philadelphia, Camden, all these fucking cities, including my area. Buffalo has a serious problem with fucking shootings at the moment. So does fucking Rochester, Syracuse. One of the things all these fucking cities have in common is that it is disproportionately black people pulling the fucking trigger. Whether it is black criminals pulling the trigger on other black people, black innocent civilians, or black cops pulling the trigger on black armed criminals. This should not be taken lightly. This should not be dismissed. This shouldn't be just like statistics and talking points when this is a real phenomena. This is a real problem in this society. We can't be sitting back, sipping our fucking soy lattes as middle-class whites talking about, oh, every cop's a fucking racist. Because you know what happened? You know what fucking happened in this instance? One of the responding officers, one of the arresting officers, let's see if we can find him in this segment. Right here, this guy right here, this black cop right here. Fucking people are calling this cop a fucking coon when every fucking day this cop is lacing up, going out in the streets, and having to deal with cocksuckers like this, criminals like this, who can't obey simple fucking commands in order to stay in compliance with the fucking law. Every fucking day, cops like this cop right here is out in the streets protecting people from cocksuckers, from criminals, from murderers and gangbangers and scum. Filth that belong in a cell. Because they can't live in a functional, civilized society. They are deviant. They are incapable of simply listening to a cop who tells them, listen, fucker, you're trespassing. Get out. Get out of the fucking store. Private property, you're disobeying the law. Get out. He can't even do that. He can't even listen to a simple fucking... You think this guy has a fucking job? You think this guy can hold down a job? You think he's living a functional fucking life? No. He's not living a functional life. He is a deviant. He is a deviant. He is incapable of actually acting civilized in a civilized society. And who's arresting him? Other black cops or other black people who are actually able to be functional because they're perfectly normal human beings. So this is unfortunately where we are in this society, where any sane person should recognize that we have deviant, dysfunctional fucking people in our society with personality fucking disorders, incapable of actually being civilized, being arrested by a whole litany of different people. No, like, everyone wants to say that these two white cops are handcuffing him are racist, and that this black cop who's a responding officer is a fucking coon because he's arresting a criminal trespassing on private property. When this guy is probably out there trying to protect innocent people from deviance. So, like, this is not a small thing. This is not, oh, the fucking racist cops. No. But this is the thing, like, I don't understand. I don't understand how we have reached such a point that you can't even recognize not only just the humanity in an officer who's responding to a call from a criminal committing an offense, but literally you see cops that happen to be black, they're on the fucking job, serving in the interest of living in a civilized society, and you call them coons. You racialize the situation. You can't just call the white cops racist. You have to denigrate cops who happen to be black too, simply because you are a fucking foaming at the mouth ideologue and bigot. This is nothing. This is not an insignificant thing that's happening in the West. This is not an insignificant thing that's happening, especially in the United States. It is rampant in the United States currently. And this is not a small thing. So, moving on from that. The UK, especially London, is going to shit. And it's likely it's for similar, but not entirely identical reasons. Right now, London is having kind of a growth spurt in terms of violent crime. And a lot of them are apparently machete attacks. Now, the thing is that this is an imported problem in London. There's not a whole lot of fucking crusty oh god, what's the name of that guy? Mog, whatever the guy's the first name of that guy is. It's not like Mog style British guys walking around macheteing people. This is an imported problem. And the problem is that in the UK, they're just denying this. They're just denying the entire problem. And they're putting Otis on their own retarded police. Unlike the United States, which does have competent police, the UK has entirely incompetent police. They're more worried about, you know, the fact that I just said nigger earlier. They're trying to, you know, kick in my door and extradite me to the fucking UK and have me prosecuted for hate crimes. These machete attacks, they aren't really focused on that. The policing culture in the UK is entirely different than the United States, and it is insane in its own right, but it's because they don't really seem to be all that worried about actual crime happening on the streets. They just seem to be more worried about, you know, Scottish cunts saying, you know, having their pug raise its paw. You know, it's beyond parody. I know if anyone's on Twitter, you've probably seen 1,000 fucking memes mocking English police. And it's because they're just so insane. They just don't seem to care about what's happening on the streets other than like what somebody's saying. You know, they want to stick Tommy Robinson in a cell because they don't like what he has to say about Islam. You know, I'm surprised that they haven't started harassing Sargon at this point. I'm surprised that he hasn't been harassed yet, based on the fact that he's an outspoken liberal. He's not a fucking progressive tool. And here's an article based on that from Breitbart, where it's just every fucking story I hear from the UK, it just scares me. And that's pretty much a portion of the commentary that I'm going to put up tonight as soon as we're done with this. I got to tell you that I legit read shit from... I read shit from... I'm getting distracted from these... from Dyke and whoever this is. It scares me. It really does. Because I really do fear having a similar government and society, really, in the United States. I fear it. I dread it. The UK has nothing but an uphill battle to face. It is all uphill, at least. I mean, they haven't hit rock bottom just yet after like thousands of girls have been raped, but I think we can hit it sometime soon. I think we're approaching rock bottom for the UK. I really do think so. And at least there, it's all uphill from there. There's the upside of that, is that as soon as you hit rock bottom, at least you can turn around. I'm just hoping they hit rock bottom soon. Somebody said in the chat, has anyone actually been arrested for this? Yeah. There have been people arrested for this. There have been people arrested for fucking hate crimes for saying things. And it's spreading. Now they're looking for shit online. It's not just what you say in the streets. They're now turning online. So if you're online and you say, oh, you know, send the sand niggers back to their own countries, and you say some racist shit, you could get arrested for saying it online. Even if you're anonymous, you can get arrested. Okay, with a maximum penalty. Okay, we're not, okay, is it community service, you know, whatever? No, 15 fucking years in prison. 15 fucking years in prison. Because it's regarded as terrorism. It's insane. I'm not really sure who in the UK you guys could vote for, like what party you could vote for this to stop. But you should vote for it. I can only tell you that the Conservative Party, which is the majority party, the majority with whatever the other one is, you have another one that they're allied with or fucking whatever, they have a majority. But they don't seem to be the party that's not going insane. They seem to be basically progressive light. And progressive light is 15 years in prison for saying bad words online. That's the Conservatives. Holy shit. I can tell you that with the Republican Party in the United States, like, I don't really consider, I mean, there's many reasons why I don't consider myself to be a conservative, but like, I've met conservative nationalists before, and they tend to be kind of dumb, if I'm being honest. It's not to say that being nationalist is dumb or to be a conservative is dumb, but I have met nationalist conservatives, and oftentimes they're kind of dumb. But the upside of that is that they would never be on board with this. And at least that we have that in common. That's ultimately one of the upsides of the conservatives in the United States, is that, like, if you're like, the Republican Party are going to propose a bill that skirts the First Amendment to charge people for hate crimes if you say politically incorrect things. And you're basically the only response you're going to get from any of these people is just going to be, that sounds like Nazi Germany to me, fuck that. And it's like, yeah, that's right. It does sound like Nazi fucking Germany. So fuck that. And at a minute, but this is the thing, is that I think that in the UK that doesn't exist. You don't have that. It's just basically you go to conservatives and you say, "Yeah, we're going to pass this bill for hate crimes," and it's like, "Whoa, that sounds fine to me. We don't want indecency to be happening on the streets." And it's just like, that's the conservatives in the UK. I don't know what to say. Like, they have a very serious problem, culturally, politically, on many different levels in the UK. And I don't know. One, I've said this to Sargon, you need to import American police to fix your problem. Because I got to tell you, like, when you see the British cops, like, basically, like, cluster fucking around with shields trying to get a machete out of a guy's hand or a knife out of a guy's hand, American cops are just going to be like, drop the knife, drop the knife, drop the knife. And then when the guy lunges, they're going to fucking put a couple rounds in him, and he's probably going to die. And they don't get out of jail when you do that. And that's all I'm going to say, is that you might be able to solve some of that, oh God, what's the word? That enrichment problem you got going on over there. Germany can do that. Sweden can do that. All the nations that have an enrichment problem. I'm just saying that if you arm your cops, and you should probably arm your citizens too. I know Sargon disagree with me. I'm in favor of. I think not only should a First Amendment be passed in the UK, although again they don't have it written in the Constitution, so exactly how you do that. But ideally, you pass a First Amendment, but you also pass a Second Amendment in the UK. And unfortunately, a lot of British people really don't like guns. They don't like the idea of a Second Amendment. But I'm just saying that I think you need a Second Amendment in the UK, because I think a lot of these rapes start going down once people start having guns. Because you can't be victimized if you're armed. At least not easily, anyway. So if you got armed women, you got armed men, and you have the enrichment, trying to further enrich your society, you can put a hollow point or a couple into that enrichment, and then it goes away. And then all you have to do is change your laws to turn off the tidal wave entering your country. I know apparently it's hard for foreign nations apparently to do this, but you can control the amount of enrichment that goes into your society. Just lower it, and you probably won't have the problem. Give it some time, and maybe you go from having an enrichment problem to practically everyone is Majid Nawaz. And then it's some slight political differences. He's a little bit too Clintonite, and it's like, oh, I don't like that part about, I'm a liberal, and so is Majid Nawaz, but he's a little bit too much of a Clintonite kind of liberal. I don't like that. I don't like that he's that kind of leftist. We got to debate that. But at least that's the debate we're having. That's what we need more of. Frank Bullitt says the UK is too focused on banning sugar. Yeah, I got to tell you that I don't know what is wrong with the UK, but you guys got some serious cultural fucking problems. I mean, granted, the United States has some fucking serious cultural problems too, but I don't think they're anywhere near as bad as yours. I'm sorry. You need a First Amendment. You need a Second Amendment in the UK. You really do. Mitch is coming in to defend the UK. Good luck. Good luck. I'm sorry, man. I'm scared to go there. I am. Like, I don't want to go to London. I don't want to go to UK. I'm going to get, like, raped, and then the cops are going to come up and be like, excuse me, sir, but we heard this stream where you said sand nigger, and they're going to deport me. Like, that's what's going to happen. I need to get diplomatic immunity before I go into the UK. And I'm bringing my fucking Beretta. I'm coming in armed. I don't know about New York City, Frank, but I know the taxes on cigarettes in New York State are pretty crazy. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about that, but yeah, they're trying to ban them. They're trying to ban cigarettes in the New York City, especially, and they did try to ban Big Gulps. Yeah. You'll be taken in as a terrorist, not joking. Yeah, probably. That'll be the thing. I'll probably be arrested as a terrorist because I said something in a stream. You're not. Good point, Caps Lock. Good point. So yeah, the fucking UK is a nightmare. It's an authoritarian nightmare. So I guess we'll talk about the what happened in Syria. I'll get that on the screen. We'll talk about that, and I'll go a little bit on further, a little bit more, and that'll be about it. We'll end it with that. So let me just save these articles before I forget. This is going to play something, isn't it?
My fellow Americans.
Stop. Fucking, I hate the Hill. Why do you have your fucking, like, I get playing the video. Why must you do it with the fucking volume on? God. I hate this aspect of sites. Off. Motherfucker. All right. Get all of these articles up. I gotta save them. I know this is kind of a empty. Actually, let me check the super chats. See if we can get any super chats. I didn't check. Okay. Lewis equal Black Pill Gaming from Nick. Caps Lock says police cat girls matter. It's kind of a mix of things. Bazinski says, sir, are you driving this car? No, I'm a traveler. I'm a sovereign citizen. But my article is Confederation. Also, the Second Amendment does not equal the right to dual cops. The Alpha Frag says, are you going to have a threesome with Vernaculus and Carl? No. I'm not queer. I probably wouldn't fuck anyone on YouTube either because they'll probably fucking make it a video. Josiah says, right-click the tab and mute site. Oh! I didn't even know that option exists. Thank you, Josiah, for that. I've been using Chrome for years. Don't tell anyone. Oh, man. This is how, like, that's... I'm just top. That's how you know I'm like a fucking top hacker, top programmer and coder. Anyways, that up. Well, the only good news, with the story that I can say is that at least some people are being consistent. I don't know if anyone knows who Bill Mitchell is. He's a right-wing hack. He's a commentator for conservatives. And he basically does nothing but suck Trump's dick and the dick of any conservative politician or figure. Unless they're consistent, then he hates them. But he embarrassed himself on Twitter a few times. That was pretty funny to watch. I know it's going to fucking play. Oop, I didn't save that. Hang on. Save that article. I won't talk about that article today. I don't really care. I won't talk about the China one. I'll talk about China. I got a bunch of China articles. I'll talk about that some other day. I don't really feel like talking about it today. Okay. So, the other day, I forget which one. It was 13th. Ew, why am I watching that? So on the 13th, the United States and a coalition of, I believe, France and the UK attacked Syria with missiles. They bombed, I believe, 2 places near Damascus, like north of Damascus and south of Damascus. One was a location that was believed to be some kind of base for Hamas, I want to say. Or no, not Hamas, Hezbollah. And the south, I think that was the one in the north. In the south, they claim it was a chemical weapons facility, but I don't even know what that was. The danger being that the one they bombed in the north, and I don't have the chart handy, was very, very close to a Russian site. Like, I don't know if it was a base or some kind of infrastructure for the Russians, but it was very close to Russian troops. And that is scary. But story being that we attacked Syria. Again, we did this last year. We attacked some strip of an air base last year, which was mean. I don't even think we did anything with that. We didn't even destroy the airfield. But we bombed 2 places near the capital city of Syria in what we're calling a one-time attack, which is stupid. I mean, like I forget what it's called, but there's a term for it, which is pretty much like we operate no longer on the premise of declaring war against governments. We simply just attack nations, and then it's like Syria can't declare war on us. We didn't declare war on them. They can't declare war on us, because if they declare war on us, we'll just destroy them. We'll invade their nation and destroy it, or maybe just invade it and turn it over to Islamists. Who knows what the fuck we'll do? But we'll do something insane if they declare a war on us. And Russia's going to not want them to declare war on us, because they'll likely be included in that. They don't want to go to war with us, because they won't win that war unless they fucking nuke us, and then nobody wins because it's the end of the world. But this was a risky maneuver. I've seen people debate this and argue. I had some furry faggot debate me on Twitter about it, and he's very meat-headed about this. But what is more important than just us attacking Syria over likely bullshit is the fact that this is one of the things that Trump campaigned on that he was specifically not going to do. Trump said over and over and over that our involvement in the Middle East was a terrible strategy, and that we should not be doing what we're doing in the Middle East. And this was him, once again, getting more and more involved in the Middle East. This is not even the first time that Trump has done this. And a lot of Trump supporters, including Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Michael Savage, who's he's a very prominent radio host, Alex Jones, which we'll get to in a minute, Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter's been pretty fucking harsh on Trump. I don't really follow her, but I've seen several tweets from Ann Coulter, and she is very fucking harsh on Trump. Mike Cernovich, who's online guy. Laura Loomer's also on here, but I'm not even sure why they included her. Laura Loomer's a nobody. Mike Cernovich is not. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are on the right that thankfully are consistent, Because one of the things is that, like, I want people on the right to disagree with me. If Ben Shapiro was more consistent as a conservative, I probably would like him more. Like with Tucker Carlson, I disagree with him on a whole litany of different things. Several things we don't disagree on, and I'm very grateful for that to be the case. But the fact is when it comes to politics, I'm sure Tucker and I disagree on a whole bunch of different things. But the thing is that with Tucker, I at least can expect him to be consistent and to be, on the right side of certain issues, and to be very expressive in why he's on that issue, why he's on the side of that issue. And it's very rarely for moral reasons, for just moralizing, this is my character and this is how I express it reasons. Ben Shapiro that's his whole stock. That's what he is just my character. This is the righteous thing to do, morality, blah, blah, blah. And he's inconsistent. He is not consistent. That's why I don't like him. But I think that I don't like Laura Ingraham either. But this should be something that every single one of these people should be praised for. Michael Savage should be praised. Tucker Carlson should be praised. Laura Ingraham should be praised. And Mike Cernovich should be praised. And so should Alex Jones. Every single fucking one of these people should be praised for being consistent and calling out the president. Like, you shouldn't have every conservative acting like Bill Mitchell, who's a dick sucker, who doesn't care what Trump does. It's simply that a president has an R next to his name. That's all that matters. That is somebody who is a sycophant. They're weak. Not only do they not hold any principles, they have no spine. They're not even a person. They're not it is the most unmanly thing in the world to be a sycophant for a politician. It is the most unmanly thing. I'm sorry. Like when women are crying because Hillary lost, and women are crying after they listen to a speech by Obama, I expect that. I don't expect any man to be a dick rider for a politician. I'm sorry, but that is an effeminate thing to do. I am saying that. Being a sycophant to a politician and worshiping them, it is an effeminate characteristic. So this is the thing. I don't remember who it was. It may have been France, but they basically said that the Russians were notified of the strikes, and the United States then came out and said, bullshit, they haven't been notified. We struck Syria. We didn't notify the Russians of the strikes. And the thing is that that isn't probably true. I have questioned. I question if that's true. I do think we notified the Russians. I do think we said where we were going to strike and told them to make sure that they weren't there when we struck. We did that when we struck that airfield last year. So I don't believe that. I think this is just posturing. I don't believe they didn't notify the Russians, because it would be insane. It would be insane not to notify the Russians. It would be insane. It would be disproportionately aggressive to do that. And I don't believe that we did that. So here's another article. This one's from Politico. Again, and the reason why people always say, like, Louis, I see Politico come up a lot. I see you talk about The Hill. Why do you cite The Hill? Why do you cite Politico? Because everyone in Washington reads these outlets. Everyone in Washington reads Politico. Everyone in Washington reads The Hill. Everyone in Washington reads the New York Times. Everyone in Washington reads the Washington Post. Everyone in Washington reads these outlets. And that's why I cite them. It's important to cite outlets that the opposition would cite. It's important to do that. Because if I cite Breitbart, they won't, as soon as he's a Breitbart reader. He's citing Breitbart. you know, blah, blah, blah. They will convict you based on who you read, and they will stop it there. But if I'm quoting Politico, they can't do that. Then they have to then address what I'm talking about. Because I'm actually talking about an article from a publication that they also read and cite. That's the purpose. I've seen it too many times where a progressive cocksucker journo has been like, oh, he's citing Breitbart when he's talking about X. It's like, nope, I'm talking about Politico when I talk about Trump in Syria. So this is another article. It talks about what Mike Cernovich said. It's Doug Stanford, strategist for Rand Paul. Probably Rand Paul condemned it as well. I'll Google that. Let's see if Rand Paul Syria strike. Let's see what 3 days ago did he say anything to? Let's just go to his Twitter account. Oh, hold on. This is from the 8th. So he said that Syria attack inappropriate. Oh, God. All right, so yeah. Paul was against it. It's not unsurprising. Fuck off. Yeah, unsurprising. Hopefully Rand Paul next time around actually runs a little bit more like a non-interventionist libertarian rather than like a quasi-libertarian stock Republican. So yeah, Ann Coulter. Yeah, so this doesn't really have any much more to it, but I just wanted to link Politico as well. So they have 2 articles talking about this and with Cernovich here. So let's move to this article here. And that is the fact that every single Beltway fucking outlet mocked Alex Jones for flipping out over the airstrikes. So Alex Jones, once he found out that we had attacked Syria, flipped the fuck out. He was beyond angry. He went as far as saying, fuck Trump because of what happened. He was really fucking upset with what happened. And he then went on to cry because he was so put out by what happened. So what I act like, a lot of people made fun of this. A lot of people meme this. And I know that Alex Jones is a character and he acts crazy all the time. And people don't people don't take him seriously. And I don't really take him seriously that much either. I like Paul Joseph Watson. I follow him. So that's another one that was against the strikes, is Paul Joseph Watson. I like Paul Joseph Watson. I think the best thing he could ever do is to break away from InfoWars, but I think he's too much of a loyalist to ever break away, to his own detriment, unfortunately. But like, one of the things that I don't like is people making fun of and ridiculing and belittling somebody for being hurt when somebody they saw as their representative betrays their interest. So what happened in this case was Alex Jones, who has flacked for Trump since the beginning, who's flacked for him, praised him, promoted him over and over and over again, and believed in him, was let down entirely by these strikes. Believed these strikes to be a betrayal of his interests in the world. He believed this to be Trump catering to the interests of globalists, neocons, interventionalists, however you want to say it. I would say internationalists and war profiteers. But these are people that he does not like and that he wanted Trump to stand against. And this is something, again, that Trump campaigned on, that he would not do this. So Alex Jones felt betrayed and broke down because of it. And he was ridiculed for this. And I got to tell you that I am not going to do that. I felt sorry for Alex Jones. I absolutely emphasize. I empathize with him entirely. I know what it feels like to be let down like that. I know how bad it can feel to think that the guy you elected is going to be your hero and champion your cause, and for that to just be completely betrayed. You know, I don't know why that people take glee, especially outlets for like The Hill and Political. I know why. You know, I know why. But it's something that is deliberately fucking mean-spirited. It is unequivocally mean-spirited. Where you don't see Alex Jones as a fucking human being. You don't see that this is a guy that believed in somebody. You don't see that this is somebody that just because you disagree with him, he still has feelings. He still has passions in life. Like, he still has politics that he firmly believes in and is passionate about. Like, you resent all of that. You don't care about any of that. It's a very shallow person that kicks somebody who's down when they feel that they've been betrayed by somebody that they looked up to and that they saw as their representative. Like, I don't, especially when it's like his whole thing was anti-war. It's like you're belittling somebody who had an anti-war message. His whole thing was don't intervene overseas for no reason, and that's the thing you mock him for. I don't know. Like I said, I completely empathize with Alex in this case, and I am not on board with mocking him for the fact that he fucking cried over what happened. You know, I don't know. I felt it fucking. I felt it was way too far, and I felt it was. I gotta say this. It was entirely mean-spirited, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why The Hill, Politico, all the fucking Beltway, all of them are spamming these articles all day. Yesterday, all fucking day, they were spamming these articles on Twitter, and I'll tell you why. Because whether it's The Hill, whether it's Politico, it doesn't really matter what we're talking about. There's another one that's a mainstream one that I'm blanking on, even though I fucking read it like every day. Every single one of these outlets, and this is generally true for journalists, they are shallow, two-dimensional people that have a borderline personality disorder that are utterly fucking cynical. They are utterly fucking cynical people. The passion that they have is just a pursuit. The passion that they have is purely Machiavellian. It is the passion that they feel for politics is, I'm going to achieve my ends and fuck anyone that gets in my way. That's the passion they hold in themselves. It is mean and cynical and utterly pessimistic, not defeatist, but just pessimistic, cynical, mean-spirited, just vengeful, wrathful. It's just awful. And I'm glad I'm not like that. As mad as I am, as as angry as I can get and as pessimistic as I can be, I am still in most cases, as it relates to politics, I'm still an idealist. I am still someone who's passionate about it in a pure way. I'm not driven by Machiavellian like wrath. You know, I want the best to occur. I want people to be their best and act in their ideal form. I want them to tell the truth, even if it is a hard truth that people don't want to hear. You know, I want them to be objective and impartial when they can be. You know, I want people to be forthright, honest, and decent people. I expect that from people. I want them to be it, and I expect it from people that want to claim to be that. If they want to claim to be pure, they want to claim to represent my interests, then they damn well better fucking do it. And I expect that of them. I don't expect them to take power and then be a fucking disgusting hypocrite and betrayer and scumbag and a pragmatist and all the rest. I expect people to live by what they say. And you can say, oh, that's so simple, that's so naive, that's so romantic, and that's such a bad attitude to have. But it's like, no, you have to have people in this world, such as myself, that hold to a fucking standard and an ideal. You have to have people that actually don't go around, saying how virtuous they fucking are, but hold to and live to a virtuous standard. That was one of the things. That's why I liked Ben Franklin so much as a politician, because the whole purpose of the virtues that he created, that was one of the things that he's famous for, is creating virtues to live by. It wasn't for other people. It was virtues that he tried to live by. And that was the point. It wasn't about dictating to fucking everybody hypocritically how they're fucking supposed to live. No, it's about living to an ideal standard that you set. You set the standard and you try your hardest to live by it. To try to be a virtuous person in your own right by living it. Not spouting it from a soapbox, dictating to others how they're supposed to live. No, you be it. You be that person. And I'm sorry, but that shouldn't go away from politics. Not everyone should have to be the cynical cocksucker, the fucking Machiavellian, I'm a dick sucker for the establishment to get money because I don't care about anything really, except for fucking diversity in Fortune 500 companies, because I'm a fucking totalitarian waste of humanity. Like just about every fucking person at The Hill or Politico or any of these fucking establishment outlets. Wastes of humanity, all of them. They're hollow. They're hollow people. And this is what this is. It's mean-spirited. It's terrible. I hate it. I hated. I watched the full thing. I hated watching Alex Jones break down. I hated this video. I absolutely hated the response to this. It's 100% mean-spirited, and you are showing that you can't emphasize. Goddamn, you can't empathize with somebody that actually looked up to somebody and wanted that person to champion their interest as their fucking elected representative. That's the thing you're fucking mocking. And no, I refuse to do that. I refuse to be a fucking cocksucker, a waste of humanity, a hollow Machiavellian fucking waste of space, a fucking cowardly, borderline personality disorder, mental defective. I refuse. And we'll touch on this before this. By the way, neocons are still around, everybody. The neocons are still around, and guess what? They want a ground invasion. They want Assad to be overthrown. They want a ground invasion. This is not stopping. They don't want us to stop at nice tits. They don't want us to stop at just the one-time strike. They want Assad gone. They want us they want our troops on the ground in Syria more than they already are. They're already there. They want us to take over the government. They want us to do Iraq 2.0, and it's a fucking disaster in the making. Be aware these fucking people are still around, and Trump is listening to them, by the way. If you don't think Bolton is a fucking McCain dick rider, you're insane. He's absolutely emphasizing fucking, and I actually mean emphasizing this time, Iraq 2.0. And this is the last article I'm going to cover for tonight because we've been going for quite a while. And that is this article that has 12,000 comments on Breitbart about James Comey. And James Comey just wrote a book. It's not currently out, I don't believe, but it's coming out soon. And It is total bullshit. It is nothing but fucking bullshit. It is basically an entire book of unflattering things about Trump and flattering things about James Comey. And it is so partisan and fucking stupid that it makes James Comey look like a fucking clown. And again, I'm not here to praise Trump, or I'm not here to do that. Because I don't like Trump. He's not moving in the right direction to win my vote for the next fucking election. I'll tell you that at the moment. I still like him on trade, unless he does some crazy shit with the TPP, which he might do. But he's definitely a mixed bag by all appearances. However, James Comey, by all appearances, was a fucking incompetent that was running the FBI. He's a joke. And people are out there saying that he has ruined his reputation, and I agree. I agree. James Comey has ruined his fucking reputation, because this book is nothing more than basically him making Trump look like a fucking cartoon character, while he looks like the stoic, like oh god, what's the name? Clint Eastwood-esque fucking hero. It's a joke. And yeah, it's basically he's embarrassed himself over the last few days, and Trump has been shitting on him on Twitter for days and days. And look at all these tweets. This isn't even all the tweets that Donald Trump has been shitting on him with. Donald Trump has just been shitting on Comey for like a fucking week and a half. And Comey has been just nonstop embarrassing himself. And it's just crazy. I don't even remember where I was going to go with this, other than James Comey has basically ruined his fucking reputation. Like at first I thought he was professional, like when I was listening to him in Congress. I was like, I don't know, he's kind of professional. I don't know, he's okay. But it's like, no, he's terrible. It's definitely a good thing that he's no longer the head of the FBI. He's a fucking lunatic. I don't know if the person he's been replaced by is any better, but it's a good thing that he's fucking gone. He's an embarrassment. And it might be someday that I work for that organization. That may happen. So I definitely don't want to work for an organization where this fucking cocksucker's the head of it when he's an embarrassment. By the way, what's with all these fat women on the side? It's like, this is the typical fat model shit. It's like, yeah, you're kind of overweight, you're kind of chubby. It's like, yeah, you're chubby. It's like, yeah, you're fat. It's like, yeah, you're fat. You're fat. And you're kind of chubby, fat. You got too much pound. It's just like, listen, just lose 20 pounds. Lose 20 pounds. God. Go for a fucking jog. Eat a salad. Lift some weights. God. The number of women I've seen in my life that if they just lost 25 pounds would be great. It's like, I don't know what it is. Laziness. That's what it is. So I will stop presenting my screen. I got some super chats. Matthew says, under Islam, the consent of the cat girl is inconsequential as long as they're in marriage or she is taken in battle. Allahu Akbar. Well, unfortunately, you live in the liberal West, and we're slowly going to have to get rid of the enrichment that certain people have brought. And cat girls still cannot consent, even under Islam. They cannot consent. Tim says, I think paleocons like me hate neocons more than anyone else. They aren't conservatives. They are fucking globalists. Fuck them all. Well, that's the thing, Tim. They're conservative, basically. I don't want to say the common phrase that you'll hear is Republican in name only, but the thing is, no, they are Republican. But the thing is that they're not, is that they aren't really conservatives. They are conservatives in that it's like, yeah, they do lean to the right. They do talk about Jesus. Although they are weirdly in some way, they love Islamists, but they're weirdly secular in some ways. It's kind of weird. Neocons are weirdly secular, except for they love Islamists. It's typically the more conservative people that are typically more actually religious. But with the neocons, they like globalist is not the right, like it is accurate, but it is not the right word. The right word is internationalists. They are absolutely internationalists. That I think I have to read the book by Rockefeller, who I think coined it. I know Sargon has read it. I still need to read it. But internationalist is the term to describe these people, because they, like, the best way that I can say it is that I don't even think these people are in any way patriotic. I think these people see themselves as, in essence, above that of nation state. It's basically, there is a global aristocracy or international aristocracy. They're part of it. And what the United States is in essence, the hammer or the tool to get them there. It's just the means to get them to the ascendant aristocracy, the international aristocracy, which they are a part of now. They don't really believe in the nation state. And I got to tell you that if you don't believe in the nation state, you are incapable of being patriotic. You are by default revolutionary. Because if you don't believe in the nation state, you are by default a revolutionary. There is no in between. Because if you're like, oh, I'm a reformer, I believe in the state, blah, 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 I'm an American, then it's like, all right, you're a reformer, you may be a SJW, whatever. But it's like the second you say, no, I think we need like international this, international that, we should have a global standard, there shouldn't be any borders, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you're just an internationalist. You don't believe in the nation state. You are incapable of being patriotic. You are incapable. It is not possible. And, this is the thing. Like, I just wish we had a means by which to take the internationalists on the right and on the internationalists on the left and have them in one party, and they'll just be one shitty party that just about no one will be a part of. And the rest of us that are not fucking insane utopian internationalists can just do something else, can just vote for other fucking people. Because the thing is, with Hillary Clinton, John McCain, all these fucking people, they lie. They lie and they lie and they lie. I'm an American, wave the flag, praise Jesus, and they don't believe in any of it. They don't believe in any of it. They don't really see themselves as American. They see themselves as part of the aristocracy. And I'm sorry, you're an elected representative. You represent the citizens. You represent the constituency. You don't represent the world. Here's the thing, right? And that's the whole thing about why I say aristocracy is, if you are like, if I elect you, you are there to represent my interests. You're not there to represent the interests of a Spanish citizen. He has his own elected governments, his own elected officials. You have to represent my interests. I don't want Theresa May to represent my interests. I don't want fucking Macron to represent my interests. I don't want Shinzo Abe to represent my interests. I have my elected representatives to represent my interests. It's that fucking simple. And but here's the thing, right? If you represent the interests of everyone, then you represent the interests of no one. See how that works? Because you can never be accountable to everyone, so therefore, naturally, you're accountable to no one. That's the beauty of aristocracy. You don't represent shit. You represent your own interests. It's the real danger of internationalism. It really is. And it's the real danger of corporatism, too. I don't really talk about it as much as I used to, harp about it, although occasionally I still do. But it's like interests. It's just you ascend to the aristocracy because here's the thing. In an internationalist world, there are no workers' rights. There is no collective bargaining. There is no shit. It's just everyone's a fucking wage slave because we live in a borderless world. It's a perfect world for investors. This is a perfect world for people that think that, bombing random nations to benefit the people that are giving them kickbacks that work at defense contractors. It's like they think that's going to be the perfect world, and we're all the saps paying for it, not them. They're getting rich off it. We're just the idiots paying for it. Far Squawk is in the chat talking shit. So yeah, I'm not a fan of internationalists. They're not as they're a lot more open in Europe. I'll give them that. They lie in the United States. They will never admit what they believe in the United States. Did I say Bubba on Twitter said that I said everyone wants to be a fag? Oh yeah, I did say that. I'll quote that. I'll retweet that for you, Bubba. I did say that. It's true though. It is. I'm gonna like. Do you want me to find that? I'll save it for maybe next time. I guess. Yeah, I'll look it up now. I'll look up that article. Red dress viral. Dude in dress. I just saw it like today or yesterday. No, that isn't it. That's from last year. Literally, this has been done multiple times. This has been done multiple times. There is literally several articles about several different guys wearing fucking dresses. This is my whole fucking point. This is my whole fucking point. Being an effeminate faggot dude on Twitter is popular. It's in vogue. It literally is. It's so fucking stupid. It was a dude in a red dress. I can't find it. God damn it. I hate this fucking world. Oh, I found it. I found it. I'm just going to show it. I'm just going to fucking show it. Let me get the tab. Such a fucking faggot. He's actually verified. His name is Dylan Evans. Dylan Evans, you're a fucking faggot. I am calling you a faggot. Like this is the most gay thing you could ever fucking do. I have met, and I mean this, I have met actually gay dudes, guys that will suck another guy's dick that are less fucking queer than you. And I genuinely mean that. I genuinely mean that you are more effeminate and faggy than fucking gay guys. Most gays, I have met, when I was in college, I met several gay guys. None of them were this fucking effeminate. None of them were this fucking effeminate. Okay? You're a fucking dude wearing a fucking dress. Let me screw this. Look at this! Look at this! Okay? What? Why would you do this other than you know you're going to get 54,000 fucking... Again, these 54,000 people and these 175 fucking thousand people that are fucking complimenting this are complimenting you for looking like a faggot. They like the fact you are a fucking transvestite. They like that about you. I want to see. I'm gonna quote this guy, and I'm not logged on to this account, and I'm just gonna say on Twitter that I've met guys that suck dick that are less of a fag than you. I have met guys in my life that suck dick and are less of a fag than you. Make sure I got that correct tweet. Okay, sent. I can't take the fucking who is this fucking guy anyways? Who is this guy? Look at this! Look at this! Okay, I have to stop. I have to fucking stop, or I'm gonna keep screaming. What is wrong with this fucking society in which we live? What is fucking wrong with it? Oh god, fuck off. Updates, suck my dick. God. I'm fucking awestruck. Oh god, this fucking guy's left me speechless. And again, he is one of several guys that have done this. I have seen I just Google fucking dude in dress viral, and there's like 4 articles of 4 different fucking guys. They've done the exact same fucking thing. God. Longsword of Smithing says, but man, I like being a trap so much in real life trolling. The guy's not a trap. He's a fucking transvestite. He likes putting a dress on and jerking off. Yes, Graham, I've seen the satirical website Polytaku. I don't want to read it. Fuck Western gaming. I don't care anymore. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. All right. I'll turn this over to the chat in a second here. Okay, Tim sent me a message on Gab that says I need to do a drunk stream with V. I guess I don't know if I've ever streamed with V. I don't think I have. It may be interesting to do sometime. You guys think I should do lewds? There's only like 10 minutes left in the day. Do you think I should do lewds? Oh, why is it popping up? I'm about to mute this fucking guy. Why is it posting on my feed? I don't want to see that fucking photo. I hate that. Like, I can't begin to tell you how many times I'm just on Twitter and I'm scrolling down. It's like, yeah, here's a post, and it's like, oh, here's an interesting post, and it's like, oh, somebody liked this post, blah, blah. And then just some random shit like that pops into my feed, and I just look at it and I go, why is this in my fucking feed? I don't want to fucking see this. I don't want to see some fucking effeminate faggot wearing a dress, which, by the way, somebody else ordered it. Somebody else ordered that dress, and they sent it to the wrong place, and he just puts it on. It's like, God, just... It's one of the things I hate about Twitter is that it just introduces shit to me that just irritates me to no end. I know, delete your account. I can't. That's where I get all my lewds from. I can't, man. I got too much invested in Twitter. I can't just get rid of it. If I ever do get permabanned, it's gonna be a bad day. It's gonna be a bad day, man. If I get banned from Twitter. I'm surprised I've gone as long as I have. I really am. Yeah, the company literally sent the wrong outfit to the guy's house, and he just literally puts it on. It was somebody else's fucking product. He just puts it on. God. All right. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to stop soon, or that video is not getting done tonight. So I'll take 2 more questions, and then we'll end the stream. I've seen people saying I need to do lewds tonight, so I'll do a 1 set of lewds. Chubby Asian girl in that one. I'm not gonna do that. There's a random video of Post Malone on like a moped that Ethan Klein liked. Has Post Malone like lost a shitload of weight, or is this somebody else? Because I remember him being pretty fat. Anyways, yeah, so I should probably pay attention to the chat. We'll get 2 more questions, and then I'll end it. Do I have any? No, I don't have any preferences for presidential candidates so far. Tulsi Gabbard, there's one. I don't, dude. Somebody's saying they're gonna take a snippet of me complaining about that guy, and they're gonna use it as a cudgel. I don't, dude. I don't fucking care what they think about me. I don't give a shit if they like if I ever start getting smear articles about me, which I'm very small for that to happen. You know, I'm just gonna make fun of the journos. Like I'll say, why don't you interview me, and I'll just insult them. I'll tell, like, you'll see that 40-minute rant I'm about to put up about how little I think about journalists, how much I fucking hate them, and I'll just say that to their faces. That'll be the interview. Will just be me ranting about how much I hate them. I don't care what they think of me. Can you do a top 10 best Japanese games for those of I can't do a top 10 Japanese games. I don't play enough Japanese games. Half of them I don't even finish. Are you going to Sargon's event in Brooklyn in August? I don't know, to be honest. I forgot that. I knew he was coming to New York sometime. I don't know. That's the answer. Or May. Probably not. I mean, I don't even know what it is exactly. I would say, like, I wish Sargon would be a little bit more forthcoming with when he does events. I don't know when he ever does events. He never says anything about them. There's an event and then he shows up. Maybe if I followed him on Facebook, I'd be able to see it more or whatever. But you know, I probably not. That's going to be my Philly. Red Dog says Philly is full of anti-faggots. City is loaded. I'm not sure what you. Oh, do you mean like masculine men or masculine homosexuals? Like I'm not even sure what you mean by that, Red Dog. I appreciate the support. I don't watch any anime at the moment. I tweet a lot of shit that would indicate that I watch anime, but I don't. I'm curious to see. I know that Persona just had their animated series go live. Like episode 2 just dropped the other day. I'm interested in watching, what is that show? Darling XX, Fran XX. I don't know what it's called, but I've retweeted the what's her name is. I think the character's name is Darling in that show. It looks interesting. I've seen people say that's kind of like up and down. It's kind of a mixed bag, but yeah, I might watch that. It looks interesting. The problem is that she doesn't, the character that I like, which is Darling in the Fran XX 02. That's the name of the character, 02. She's very, based on what I've seen of her, she's very akin to Catherine, in that she is just like, she has an overbearing charm and has like a flirty personality. But the problem is that it's not a Yuri anime. So I don't know. That takes it down a notch to me, because if it was that kind of like comedic anime where it was Yuri, then I probably have already watched it. Somebody saying fake anime bandwagon, fan bagwagon. Have fun passing out there, Tim. Just don't go driving. Darling in the Franxx? I don't know. Who's my favorite shooter? I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I don't watch anime. I haven't watched any anime in years. It's been years since I've watched anything. I haven't even played any visual novels recently either. It's been normie games mostly. See, that's what people say. Not a true. I'm not a weeb. That's evidence for why I'm not a weeb. No, I did not see the AIU Sargon stream. I don't give a shit what AIU has to say about anything. I don't like him. Doesn't watch anime. Yeah, I don't, man. I don't. I haven't. I used to watch it. I just haven't in years. I just don't feel like because the thing is too is that like either then like I gotta pirate it or I gotta have a Crunchyroll account, you know, whatever. Like it's just there's a lot to it. Yeah, Citrus is one that's been recommended to me. I'm what am I aware of? I'm aware of it outside of the anime that just came out. Why? I think was it the manga that I was aware of? I don't think I've read the manga. But yeah, I tend to like in terms of anime, I tend to like slice of life comedy kind of stuff. What's the name of that fucking anime I watched so fucking I own a hard copy of it. It's oh man. Yuyuski. That's how it's I was trying to remember how to say it. It's Yuyuski. It's a girls love slice of life comedy. It's very funny. I liked it. It's kind of stupid and goofy, but that's the charm of it. It's just slice of life, and also Yuri. It says it upside. It's not like super intimate like that. It's not as it doesn't insinuate as much as Yuri, which is very. There's a lot of teasing in that. Now everyone's talking about fucking Gurren Lagann. I have a friend of mine who's very big fan of Gurren Lagann. I've watched some of it. It doesn't really strike me as something that I would really be interested in. Not that it's bad, but I watched a bit of it and I was like, I don't know, I can't really get into it. Cowboy Bebop, I've watched the entirety of that. That's pretty good. The last I watched was Kill la Kill. Kill la Kill, unfortunately, the later half of it got kind of bad, in my opinion. Wasn't anywhere as near as good as the first half. The only good part of the later end of that was when oh god, what's her name? Ruko, however you would say it. She turns evil temporarily. It was stupid because it's like you already know she's gonna immediately turn back to being good. I hated that. That was so stupid. The second half of Kill la Kill was bad, in my opinion. It's just super fast, crap pacing, cheap, cheap everything. It was so dumb. But anyways, so she turns evil temporarily, and I forget the name of the girl that had the one eye put out with the blonde hair, dressed in a pink frilly dress, who's a bad guy, a hench woman to the antagonist, and she's about to go away and fight the good guys, Ruko is, and basically the bad girl, basically she says something to her like, "Oh, now you're gonna go do this or whatever. You think you're a bad guy now," or something. Like she basically teases her, and Ruko turns around, doesn't say anything, and just pulls her into a kiss, and just shoves her back, and then takes off to go fight. And I thought that was a great moment. I thought that was great. I thought they played it very well. That was the only part of her turning bad for like 5 minutes that was worth a shit. Was that scene. I thought that was great because there's a lot of those kind of like flashy moments in the show. One of my favorite ones is and it was very well done. It was very spectacle based. Was when she loses the uniform. I forget the name of the uniform in that series. It's been a while. But then she basically dons a tracksuit and sunglasses, like tinted glasses, and she rides a motorcycle, and she just starts like tearing into crowds of bad guys. It's so great. One of the guys, like she's just like her theme song kicks in, and she flies in a motorcycle and just lands on one of the bad guys' face, and then burns out on his face. And this just goes careening into a crowd of like henchmen and just or minions, and just rolls them all down and runs them all over. It's great. Like there's so many scenes in it's right around when it leaves the academy and she starts like the I forget the name of her sister that is initially seen to be the antagonist, is when she starts trying to take over districts. And that I think that was a great part of that series was is very stylish when they're invading other districts and trying to take them over. It was great. Unfortunately, that was pretty much when the series topped out for me. I think that once that fight ends, it was like 2 episodes, and after that episode where it ends, it just goes way downhill from there. It never recovered from that, in my opinion. When before it, like every episode was fucking great. Every episode was great before that. There was so much to that. Even like there's so much. Like one of these days, I have to go back and watch the episodes of that. The one thing, another anime that I can recommend, even though it is hit and miss. It's like it'll be good episode, trippy episode that's kind of boring, and then bad episode, good episode, is Space Dandy. Space Dandy was, I think there was 2 seasons of it, I want to say. And it's actually several episodes are very funny and entertaining. And then every once in a while, you'll just get kind of a miss episode that's not very good. And I don't know if I watched I think I did watch the last episode of it where he hooks up with the chick that works for the International Space Station that analyzes aliens for bounties. I thought that was a good ending. I wanted a happy ending for that show. Yeah, the episodes that I didn't really like of Space Dandy where there was way too many feel-good episodes. I didn't like the feel-good episodes. And they're cute and all that shit, and it's good to see. It's like character development and all that, but I didn't like them. And the trippy episodes. I don't know who it was. There had to have been more than one team working on that show, for sure. I'm confident more than one team, because they were so weird in the second season, because there were these episodes that were just super trippy, like the screen would melt and there would just be like a psychedelic fucking acid trip the whole time. I don't like those episodes were trippy and very artistically advanced, but they were fucking boring. They were fucking boring. Dandy doesn't hook up with Honey. You're incorrect about that. He hooks up with the chick that does the analyzing or the bounties for the space station. Zombie episode, yeah, that's one of the crazy ones. New Game and New Game double exclamation point were the best renditions of Space Dandy. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is New Game the Yuri one? Finish Gur and log on. It's not only you won't regret it. I know. I have a friend of mine who's always told me that I should do it. Somebody said I've seen a few people say Samurai Champloo. I would say I own a Blu-ray now. I own 2 copies of it now of Samurai Champloo. It's probably my favorite anime. I would say. There's a lot of different anime that I like. Or have like mixed opinions on, but like to watch it. Ghost in the Shell is definitely one where I have I recognize it in that I really like it, but that I have like a mixed opinion of it. Somebody's saying that they want me to do a stream of the new God of War. No, I'm not buying that piece of shit. I've already seen Afro Samurai. I like Afro Samurai. I've already seen it. Yeah, New Game is the I've heard of that. It's basically on a list of shit I want to see but never have. I don't want to talk about fucking Psychopaths. Yeah, it is. Right there. Boom. Info Chill has put my thoughts exactly. It's a shit tier Ghost in the Shell. It's exactly what it is. It is Ghost in the Shell if it was made by untalented people. And I watched 8 episodes of that fucking piece of shit. Yeah, somebody just Ghost in the Shell, especially what's the series? The series called? Not the movies, the OVAs. What's the series called? Somebody drop it in chat. Force Ghost in the Shell. Standalone Complex. I beat it before anyone even gave it. Standalone Complex, the 2nd season of it is basically internationalist propaganda. Yeah. I'm not on board with the collective consciousness shit. I'm not on board with that. That is hell for me. I've already talked about that before. So Psychopaths is shit. Ergo Proxy is I've already watched that. I've already commented on that. It's pretentious shit. Boring pretentious shit. So yeah, I do not like Ergo Proxy. I think it is not Ergo Proxy. I don't like Ergo Proxy, but what is it? Psychopaths. I did not like it. Chase asks, would you be ever willing to do videos covering moral or political themes in specific games or anime? That's asking a lot. I mean, I would say that I'm currently not on that trajectory at the moment. Like, I don't know. I'd have to dig it up. I think I may have written an essay on Standalone Complex talking about that at one point. I used to talk about themes in movies. I actually have a script where I talk about Tomb Raider, the movie, and I basically go through and I explain the fundamental problems with the movie and why it's terrible. But I'm not sure I haven't finished it, so I'm not really sure what I want to do with that. Yeah, that's the thing with games is that I'm not if things in gaming ever turn around, and I know the demand is there, but it's just an interest thing. Like I have just such a dismal view currently that I just don't have the interest to do it. That's the problem. I just don't want to talk about it. I've already talked about however you just say or IMO. It's like my sister can't be that cute, or however it's said. Far squawk specifically to you. I've already talked about that anime before and why I don't like it. It's I don't even dislike tsundere, which is what is presented in that. It's just abusive sister. And I've already ranted about that before. I said it a long time ago that I would never tolerate a relationship where I had a sister who would physically attack me. And it's not cute. Like, she actually hurts him. And it's like I couldn't I got physically uncomfortable watching that show. And I'm not joking. I got physically uncomfortable watching it. I didn't find it cute in the slightest. Chase says he sat through 14. I sat through, I don't even know, like 7 episodes, 8 episodes of that show. I hated it. Just I couldn't stand the sister anymore. I couldn't. And there's people that have told me that eventually she gets her comeuppance to some degree, but I couldn't fucking take it anymore. I fucking hated her goddamn character. I hated it so much. She was so abusive to her brother. I just couldn't take it anymore. I like I said, I got physically uncomfortable watching that show. I could not take it. I don't know how anyone watches that and thinks it's cute. For like their incestuous or quasi incestuous fascination with a little sister character who is nothing but an insufferable cunt who treats her closest family member like absolute shit, and is not only treats him like shit, but is physically abusive towards him. Like, I could not take it. And Far Squawk is saying that never happens. Apparently, I've been lied to. I've been told she got her comeuppance. But apparently that was wrong. People are talking about Sword Art Online. I actually have I bought Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet, and I've been unable to get through it just because it's a lot of grind. But eventually, I should probably watch anime at some point. I was questioning. I don't want to watch. I keep see people saying watch Bible Black. I'm not gonna watch what is in essence a fucking eroge visual novel in animation form. I'm not gonna do that. It's hentai. What's the point of watching that? She wins? What do you mean she wins? See, somebody's contradicting you there, Far Squawk. Sit down and watch. I've tried to get Sargon to watch weeb shit or do something that's related to weeb shit. He won't do it. There's a lot of dark shit. Rabbit Chase Wars. I usually like slice of life kind of shit, or comedy, action comedy, that kind of stuff, like adventure stuff like Space Dandy. That's always fun to watch. Black Lagoon. I've heard of Black Lagoon, but I haven't watched it. Bible Black. Bible Black is boring. Bible Black is just like, oh, we got this thing, then some fucking fetishist shit happens. Oh, that's great. let me unzip. It's I know what Bible Black is. I know it enough to know that it's just boring fetish nonsense. Oh God, I don't even want to hear this far. Squawk. Too many men in Bible Black. Yeah, it's weird fetish shit. It really is. It's weird fetish shit. It's like I got through the visual novel of Euphoria, and that has the most extreme fetish shit that I've ever seen in a visual novel, and it is disturbing. So I don't want to watch something that I know is not going to have the saving grace of the investment of a mystery and of a decent story, of which that game had. Euphoria actually had especially once you get to like there's you go through a couple different scenarios, and then you realize, and I didn't know this going into it too, that there was something like another dimension to it, and then you figure out like, oh, something's wrong here, something's wrong, like there's some other element to this that I haven't figured out, and then you figure it out, and then it goes to the then you get like 2 more false ends, and then you get the true end, and it's like, wow, this is actually really good. I find the only anime I can get normies to watch is Standalone Complex. Put it on, and people end up binging both seasons. It's because it's highly fucking political, and it's action and interesting. It's a very fucking political series, especially the second season. But it's interesting. It's action and it's interesting, and it's sci-fi. It's like when people turn on The Matrix. There's enough gameplay or enough gunplay to catch people's interests. Nichatu. I'm not sure what you mean, Chase Face. I don't know that reference. It doesn't seem familiar. Bible Black. All right. Well, we're going on for a long time now. So, despite the interesting questions related to like the last half an hour talking about weeb shit, appreciate that, guys, and for everyone sticking around. For those of you that have supported the chat, my channel, Red Dog. Also, I missed a super chat from Red Dog who says, "Stop being a globalist and come to Brooklyn." I don't know, man. Like somebody's gonna have to contact me about when the fuck it is if I'm ever gonna be able to show up, because I didn't even know when the fuck it was. I knew he was coming to New York sometime, but I don't even know. Flashy, cutesy, your fetish of shit, crap, annoying me, anime. Yeah, I mean, it depends. There's flashy stuff that matters. Yeah, I know. I have to get to the loots too. So I'm gonna finish up the video I was working on and get to the loots. So I appreciate everyone stopping by. Be sure to tune back in. I'm gonna have a video up tonight, or I guess it's now in the morning. So today. And thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening. And be sure to hang out on my channel. Subscribe to me. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Gab. Follow me on Patreon and donate to my channel. Follow the links in the description and support my channel. And I'll talk to you hopefully soon.